a bottle of... Oh, shit. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Where the hell is the fucking Hall of Fame?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
How dare you say such things about a widow?
Did she eat the corpse?
Right. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your head and let it flow into me. I can see inside you the sickness is rising.
I think he's some kind of darky.
Seems that all that was good has died.
He living in my coattail.
Oh no, the world is a scary place.
Quiet down on the Christmas show, for fuck's sake!
Now that you've woken up the demon in me.
Whose idea was this?
Why?
Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You
Sit on my face.
fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Go, get it.
Open up your hate and let it flow into me. Why can't you just fuck up the guy?
As they do. He got out.
Here it comes. Get ready to die. Get ready to fuckers.
Die.
The 10th anniversary of SmackDown.
They were having a party backstage. There was cake, there was drinks, there was mingling going on. The whole gimmick was MVP, and MVP had the lounge set up, and he had Mark Henry as his doorman, only letting cool people in the lounge. So Matt walks up, and MVP sees Matt, and he goes, "Partner!" And Matt's like, "Yeah, right, partner." That's, again, continuity. Like 2 years ago, they had a contentious partnership. But they were willing to make amends here because MVP had a cool place to hang out, and Matt brought girls with him. So they made peace, and they all got to go in the club, and Zack Ryder wanted to go in the club, but he wasn't cool enough, and there was only room for one more, and then the one more turned out to be the Iron Sheik. And
I don't give a shit.
what was that?
I don't give a shit.
Is that an app?
I'm playing with the Iron Sheik soundboard.
I see.
This is what the Iron Sheik thinks of you, Vince.
You a stupid son of a bitch.
I see.
This is available on iTunes, everybody. 99 cents, the Iron Sheik soundboard.
You're going to play with that all day.
Hey, hold on.
I have a gold medal. What do you have?
Exactly, Vince.
Well, it's true. I don't have a gold medal, and neither does the Iron Sheik.
I gotta find one to calling you a jabroni. Keep going.
Well, what he did in fact say, because he got to go into MVP's lounge, and Zack Ryder didn't, and so Zack asked, "Are you serious?" And she turned to him and said, "Whoa, ho, ho, you know it, jabroni." This is the peak of Zack Ryder's career.
What? Are you gonna crawl?
Are you gonna crawl?
What? Are you gonna crawl?
Oh, God. Oh, this is a good one. Hold on. Gotta figure out how to push the goddamn buttons.
Oh, what a show this is.
I'm so glad I got this.
Flash it for me.
Huh?
Here we go.
You're a scumbag.
Oops, hold on.
Flash it for me.
Pleasure for me?
Yeah.
I see.
Flash it for me.
Okay, keep talking. What else we got here?
It had the Eddie Guerrero tribute video.
This is a good one. Hold on, ready?
This is a good one, he says.
Yeah, here we go.
That's a cheap watch.
Oh, here's another good one. I better not play that one right now. By the way, many of these in parentheses have the word drunk.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Don't never call me.
All right, go on.
You sure?
What are we on? What are we even doing?
We're supposed to be reviewing SmackDown.
Where are we?
The Eddie video.
Oh.
It was very nice.
Bad timing on my part.
Yeah.
Oh. That was a great video.
If you were listening, it may have helped because I did say that.
Well, I was busy playing with this soundboard. I swear to God, I'm not making any money for this. I'm just plugging it because of how awesome it is. I mean, when else can you hear Iron Sheik say,
She's a half and half.
That's awesome because he is dismissing her.
Yes. There's also this one.
He's a half and half.
Wow. We should get going.
Let's just stop talking about wrestling. I don't really want to talk about any of the shows,
Eat
frankly.
me.
What?
Eat me.
It's like we have Iron Sheik on the show with us every night now.
It is, yes.
Okay, I'm on the last page of the Iron Sheik thing.
You're very distracted tonight.
I just want to do a couple more here.
You're even worse than your usual shitty radio show host. So.
Here's some wisdom from the Iron Sheik. Ready?
The hand feeds you. Don't cut that hand.
The hand that feeds you, don't cut that hand.
Yeah.
Huh.
Here's another good one.
Lose some weight.
By the way, when the Iron Sheik is telling you your gut is too big, it is time to lose some weight.
That is very horrible. The money always going to be here.
Oh, that one, Sheiky, incorrect. That one is incorrect.
As many in wrestling have learned.
Let's do one more. Just classic.
I'm the real deal world champion, not you.
That's telling you. I'm going to put away the Iron Sheik
He
soundboard.
does have one more world title than I do.
He does. Hey, go get your phone, by the way.
My phone.
I'll show you something about this Iron Sheik soundboard. All right, you ready?
I suppose.
I actually saw somebody send me actually the website for the Iron Sheik iPhone app, the soundboard app, and there's a YouTube video of how to use it. Because you see, you don't just open up your app and hit the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you do. Get your phone ready.
Phone's ready.
All right. What you do is you get your phone ready, and you dial up a friend. Don't answer it yet, okay? I'm just going to start dialing you. As it's dialing, you... oh, shit. Hold on.
You dial the wrong person.
You put on speaker, which hopefully is working. There we go. Then you go back to your app, and you turn it on.
Okay.
Okay, now you can answer the phone.
I have just answered. Perhaps if you held the phones up to the microphones, it would work better.
No, but can you hear it?
Yeah?
You can hear the Iron Sheik yelling at you.
Over the phone? Well, here, if I held... Now the
put it
phone
to
is
your
held
ear.
up to my ear. Let me tell you something. This works horribly with the mic setup and everything.
Doesn't it sound like the Iron Sheik's talking to you?
It sounds like... It sounds like I'm surrounded by Iron Sheiks.
I'll play what I'm playing. I guess I can't. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Just isn't that awesome?
You are 34 years old.
No, I don't think I am. All right, everybody. That's how you use it, though. It's like you're talking to the Iron Sheik. They actually had the guy that was demonstrating it made a prank call to his own father. And the Iron Sheik was screaming at his dad as his dad is going, "Who is this?" Anyway, everybody check it out. Just Google Iron Sheik soundboard. And
Sean's
it's up
done
there.
that to me with he did it with a Schwarzenegger soundboard and another one. But I immediately knew it was Sean.
Oh.
So
Because he calls you and his number comes up?
that helped.
There is that problem.
I did not think Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually calling to me and, whatever he would say.
Well.
My God.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time, the great Khali.
I never played this.
Come with
Vänta lite mellan de börjar tycker jag. Yahoo! Yahoo! What is that? Don't you know? One day, I'm a diamond and the one body. Don't talk, motherfucker! Fuck you!
That was the best song we played in years. Tonight's WWE 24/7, we're going to recap. We just watched 3 matches.
What a collection this was.
What a collection, indeed, of matches. The first match we watched, everyone, was Bruno Sammartino against Mr. Fuji from the Philadelphia Arena in 1974. This was 1 year before I was birthed. 1974. Mr. Fuji, for those of you that remember Mr. Fuji as the diminutive manager, apparently he wasn't so small. They built him at 265 pounds. He outweighed Bruno Sammartino. Bruno! He was billed as being from Osaka, Japan.
Yes, Osaka.
Osaka, Japan.
This is why they now announce these guys as being just from Japan.
How can people get upset when I mispronounce things? That's funny. Osaka, Japan. I laughed and laughed. So they had a match. Fuji bumped like crazy for him. It was
wait.
Oh, come on. When they did that high spot and Bruno kicked him and Fuji jumped 10 feet in the air and took a back bump.
But there's a way to do it where it looks like that you're getting your ass kicked, and there was a way to do it where you are a cartoon character.
This is 1974, Vince.
And I was watching it in 2009.
Fuji got heat with judo chops. We had a hilarious slow motion replay of a couple of the high spots. They did a spot where Fuji pulled a gimmick, supposedly, out of his trunks. It was so awesome, the heat that he got for this fake gimmick. And Bruno finally tossed him off the top rope and hit a back drop for the pin.
that was awesome, yes.
I could not watch a match like this every day, but today, this match ruled. And one other note, I have one other note here that's very important. This match is noted took place in 1974. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation was founded in 1963. So they've been around for 11 years. And Vince McMahon on commentary, Vince McMahon Jr., announced that Bruno Sammartino at the time was the first man in WWF history to regain the title.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first man to regain the title.
In 11 years.
CM Punk is already a 3-time champion.
Yes. Things have changed.
Wow.
Things have changed. So, yes, Mr. Fuji has quite possibly the absolute worst strikes I've ever seen. Bruno I was okay with. I've seen better from Bruno, but in fact I've seen better from older Bruno. So somehow he actually got better as he aged. But Fuji was really, really horrible. But my heart did melt when Fuji simply just hinted that he might grab a foreign object, and people were shrieking in terror at what this evil Japanese man might do. And it also spawned a great moment when a young Vince McMahon, who I didn't realize was doing commentary this early, but he was, he noted that there may be a foreign object hidden in Mr. Fuji's gear, and then informed us, and this is a direct quote, "There's no telling what's in the tights of Mr. Fuji."
There's not, really.
I could guess.
Yeah. All right. After that, we had another fabulous match.
To the other end of the spectrum.
We watched Bob Holly. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to jump ahead too far.
Don't cut to the main event.
I won't. We'll go to the semi-main here. We watched Fantasio against Tony DeVito from July 15th, 1995 on the Wrestling Challenge. Fantasio was the former spellbinder who was doing a magician gimmick. He came out and did some... I was a magician once, by the way, as many of you are aware. That was the first business I ever ran. I did magic shows at children's birthday parties when I was, I believe, 11 years old. Either 11 or 12. I know that I wouldn't... The parties had to be children age 11 and under. Because I didn't want to do any parties for anyone my age or older. That was way too embarrassing. It had to be younger kids. So Anyway, I didn't have one trick that was as shitty as the magic tricks that Fantasia was doing. My tricks were all so much better. So he came out, he did some horrible, horrible magic. Tony DeVito was a great jobber, just a huge, out-of-shape guy with long hair.
Lumpy. He was lumpy.
Shitty squash. Fantasio magically pulled DeVito's underwear out of his trunks and then pinned him with a roll-up, meaning he reached back in his trunks and pulled out underwear, and they pretended like he pulled off the underwear from his ass. They did the same with Earl Hebner afterwards, and Fantasio then
never was seen again.
He disappeared. He did a disappearing act. That was the end of his career in WWE, WWF, and
whatever.
Oh well.
Maybe from the Earth. I never heard about him wrestling again. Not that I researched or anything, but yeah, it was goofy. My favorite magic trick, he comes out and he's wearing a mask that looks exactly like his face paint, but he tears his face off, which is the mask, and then there's like a ribbon coming out of his mouth. So, he's just got a ribbon rolled up in his mouth that he just pulls out, and it's shiny and silver, and it gets to the end, and then he comes out and he puts it on a young boy. It was in his mouth! And he put it on the young kid.
Yeah.
Gross. So then they had their shitty squash.
Now, was it actually in his mouth, or was it a trick? I wasn't paying attention.
It appeared to be coming from between his lips.
Oh.
Yes. And, Mickie James in the introduction noted this is the only appearance of Fantasio ever, so enjoy him while he lasts. And I didn't.
While he lasts. Oh, my God. So then we got the main event, everybody. And we got the main event. Bob Sparkplug Holly faced Mantar.
Yeah!
Mantar. May 15th, 1995, Raw. Sadly, Mantar did not wear his head to the ring, or if he did, they edited it out. There was a brief clip of it as Mickie James was introducing the match. There was mooing. I would like to read from Wikipedia. This is I believe the guy's name was Mike Halleck, but the Wikipedia entry said, and I quote, "The Mantar character saw Halleck dress as a bull and perform antics that included charging, mauling, and mooing at opponents."
He did perform antics. I saw antics performed.
That's the funniest thing I've read in a long time. This was a King of the fucking Ring qualifier.
Yes.
Bob Holly had a huge mullet. Mantar...
Awesome music.
Yeah.
Happiest kind of southern rock sort of thing ever.
Mantar had this enormous...
Everything.
Just rotundity, girth. He was a gigantic man. But the fucking guy could move.
Sure.
Move! That's a good one. I didn't even mean to do that.
You're very clever.
He hit the ropes really hard and fast. And, in fact, he'd do a lot of charging, mauling, and mooing at Bob Holly. And they did a high spot, which I was actually impressed with until the very end when they fucked it up. And then Mantar slammed him twice. And Mantar, he's always had a great name. He started as Bruiser Mastino. Top that is the name.
Shoulder Strelly.
No. So he was like Bruiser Mastino in like Germany, and then he came to the U.S. and he did the WWF stuff, and then he did some stuff in ECW, and eventually he just retired. And I was thinking, why? I do not know how this man didn't make it. He had size. He could move.
Yeah.
He was fucking... I can't even explain how enormous this man was. Not like Big Show, who was really tall, or imagine like...
He was slightly smaller than Mark Henry and could move much better.
Picture Taz.
Yes.
Like, if you...
supersize.
Like, if he was a shrinky-dink or whatever, and you put him in water and he expanded. That's what
not a shrinky-dink, but okay.
Mantar was. What do they call those goddamn
I know
things?
what you're talking about. I don't know, but Taz would be the shrinky-dink of Mantar.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So Mantar was like a Taz that you filled full of air.
And I'm sure we've all thought about doing that once or twice.
I was going to make a joke about how... Anyway.
So yes, he was huge, he could move, and there was a point where his spot got botched, and so he just picked up Bob Holly and slammed him.
Yeah.
He was a scary man.
Yeah.
He had, of course, a bullshit gimmick here. See what I did there? But
what has happened to the show?
but yeah, he certainly looked like a guy who could have been something. And then Bob Holly hit him with a body press and pinned him.
Yeah, a flying high cross off the top rope.
So yeah, I do want to know a few other things. It was explained, I think Mickie said this, Mantar was half man, half Minotaur. Which I've done the math. That means he's 3/4 man, and then like his grandpa was a bull.
I have no idea why it's so funny. I've lost my mind here. I was hoping she would say he's half man, half tard.
That would describe that one fan. The camera zoomed in on a fan, and I cannot describe this guy other than to say he was half man, half hard. So, also, the graphic for the match, you're scrolling through the menu on the 24/7 dealie, and go to the match, you hit info, and it said Mantar versus Bob Holly, and it said Mantar was looking to bull-e his way through the WWE. See? That's funny.
I'm still laughing at half man, half minotaur. I didn't even notice that at the time.
So, we ended up watching this, so I won't complain, but after the Bruno match, we were looking for something else to watch. And we looked at the menu, and I said, Mantar! Gotta watch Mantar. Bryan said, no, we're watching Fantasio. And he put the Fantasio match on, and then he left the room.
Well, I thought he'd be back by the time that Mickie stopped talking, and I was listening for the ring bell, but apparently you paused it.
No, there was a ring bell.
No.
Fantasio came out. There was an introduction.
Wasn't paying attention.
Jim Ross was noticing everything. Gorilla Monsoon was marking out and going crazy. And he rang the bell. He started doing matches, and they started wrestling. I thought, what the fuck am I watching this for? And I rewound it and waited until you came back.
Well, the important thing is we were talking about Orlando earlier, and all I got to say is, in 1995, in your house pay-per-view, they gave away a house, and Vince was congratulating the family that had won the house the night before at the pay-per-view. He said they were moving to Orlando. What a fucking rib. Sucks to be those people.
I hear you don't like caskets, right? I don't like caskets. I hate them. I know you hate caskets. I don't like them either. But I do like you, John.
This is all real.
Yeah.
I like you too, Gene.
They added the music.
Caskets. I know, John. But I have an idea. Me too. Okay. That sounds good.
That was not the soundboard, by the way. That was
An idea. That sounds good, says John Heidenreich.
Wow.
Heidenreich and Snitsky is still the best tag team ever that never actually teamed up.
Who in the fuck thought that was going to be a good idea, that segment right there?
It was a good segment.
No, it was not. Not at all.
It did not sell pay-per-views, but it's been like at least 5 years. And I still laugh out loud thinking of the glory days of John and Gene. Friends.
Regal and his diabolical crew came out, welcomed us DCW, said he wanted to wish Tiffany the best in her recovery from that horrible auto accident. Said him being GM wasn't popular, but he had to do what was right. And he said that the board of directors told him he couldn't make any championship decisions, but he said sometimes you've got to face the dire consequences in order to do the right thing. And the right thing, he said, was to name himself #1 contender. So out came the woo-woo guy who got no reaction whatsoever. I mean, he wasn't booed. He was not cheered. He was observed.
That is certainly true.
Yes.
And I noted this, but in his defense, this was the worst crowd I've ever seen.
Well, what did they have to cheer about?
Well, I don't know, but I asked myself, and it was more... They did not like anything in this promo about anybody, and then the first match started, and they didn't care about that. And I just asked myself, why did people come here?
Well,
why didn't you pay money to see pro wrestling?
Because they came to see SmackDown, Vince.
Then why didn't they show up late?
Well, maybe they were fooled.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe they did. Maybe the crowd building was empty.
So Zach came down and said he should be the champion because last week Regal took his shot away, and Regal was appalled that this miscreant, this fucker, had referred to him as bro.
I like that you went from miscreant to fucker.
I'm just being honest.
You went from highfalutin to base, to crass.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Carry on.
They were screaming back and forth, and Christian came out wearing... I've been noticing the belts a lot lately. The spinner belt that doesn't spin anymore and the ECW belt need to be melted down.
Sure.
And I'm not sure you can melt down the ECW belt without damaging the atmosphere, because I'm sure it's made of plastic. Cannot possibly be made of metal.
And it's a lot of plastic.
Oh, my God. What an Jesus.
Well, just keep in mind, it was designed to be worn by Mark Henry. It is now being worn by Christian.
I'm just like, okay, you make a championship belt, and the idea is that you cut the leather. Like you here's the plate in the middle, and you taper the leather down on each side where the plates are. They didn't even do that on this fucking belt.
No.
It was like one giant piece of uncut leather that they put some fucking silver plates on. It is repulsive. Repulsive. Worse even than the spinner belt, because at least that one's gold-plated. This one is silver. Can you possibly kill a belt even more? Like, the U.S. and the IC titles are at least made of gold. I'm trying to think of the last championship belt that was made of silver.
The only one that comes to mind, and I specifically remember, this is the old school OVW tag team belts. Because I remember a promo with Prototype, who's of course John Cena, and Rico, and they were vowing to win the titles, and Prototype announced that he was so excited about being a champion that he dyed his hair gold to match the belts.
That's right.
He then began to dance the robot as Rico tried to interrupt him. Proto! Then he finally said, the belts aren't gold, they're silver. And Prototype stared straight ahead, and actually I don't remember the finish. I just remember John Cena dancing the robot as Rico tried to stop him, and he would not let him.
Could you imagine just the promo? I have won the 10 pounds of silver. Like you're Judas. It's
I was going to say a dwarf.
Jesus. Either way, fuck that belt. So anyway, they're bitching over a belt that I can't imagine anyone possibly ever wanting to display in their house. And out comes, Christian comes out and he says neither man deserved to be the champion. And he brings out Tony Atlas, Yoshitatsu, and a janitor. And basically, one by one, he explains that all three of these men deserve a championship match more than Regal and Zack. So, finally out comes Tiffany. And she thanks everybody for filling in, or Regal for filling in last week. And then she began to recite a speech that she had clearly spent the last 2 weeks memorizing. She's been off TV for 2 weeks, so she had more time than ever to put into this speech. I'm back, she said, and nothing is going to stop me from being the general manager of this show where you can see the youngest and hottest superstars in sports entertainment, ECW.
You know why this is awesome? Because I was also moved to write that down word for word.
Yes.
You weren't quite as enthusiastic.
I don't have it in me.
In the enunciation.
12:38 a.m.
She really, on the T's and the P's, you can really hear her effort. And then the way she drags out ECW.
Yes.
It's not 3 letters, it's 4 words.
And by the way, somebody, as I noted a couple days ago on The Daily Show, actually went through the entire roster of all 3 shows, and ECW has the oldest roster. So, that is a lie on Tiffany's part.
That's tremendous. So, she said everyone would be in action. Again, nobody cared.
Yeah.
She booked Zack Ryder versus Christian. Then she said these words. Mr. Regal, we will see if the victory Yoshitatsu experienced was a fluke or not when the 2 of you stand off.
I wanted to write it down, but I couldn't do it.
Apparently this is how this woman just talks.
Yeah.
Everything she says is a declaration. And then finally she booked a tag team match featuring Vladimir Kozlov and Ezekiel Jackson. And then she said, good luck to all of you, and let's have a great show!
She is awesome.
And this segment went about 10 minutes. I wrote probably 4,000 words.
I'm amazed. I don't know how everybody can stand there and listen to her and not burst into hysterics.
I don't know either. I do every time. Every single time without fail.
Then we had Tiffany and Regal having a meeting. These are always fabulous. Because Regal is a 5-star actor, and Tiffany is a negative 5-star actor.
Yeah.
And somehow they play off each other in an astounding way. So he said he could not believe she was back to work so quickly. She said it was nothing. She couldn't wait to be back. She's in the middle of making she goes, I'm in the middle of making a lot of big announcements. And Regal was like, what could those possibly be? And she's like, well, there's going to be a Rock versus, a John Cena versus a Randy Orton match, and who knows? Maybe John Cena's going to want to come to ECW.
Good luck with that.
That was the funniest scripted line I've heard in ages. So he was basically trying to convince her to go home so that he could take over again, and she told him that he better get ready for his match because he was next. And Regal and Tiffany together.
Regal, he paused. He told his match was next. He paused, and he looked at this woman, and then he just grinned.
Yes.
And then he turned away.
This is method acting. You just know. These are his honest-to-God feelings when he looks at this woman. He has to do a huge fake smile, pretend like she's doing a fabulous job, walk away, and then sneer.
Yes. He's not actually acting at all.
No, he is being William Regal. He is being himself. What's his real...
That was a win.
That's a good one.
I can't say it was as good as Inspector Khali, but it was certainly a win.
WWE Classics on Demand, always, classic. And this week it was quite the selection as we observed Bull Nakano and Dump Matsumoto versus Velvet McIntyre and Dawn Marie. And obviously this was not the current ECW Dawn Marie. This is the original Dawn Marie, who was horrendous. One of the worst wrestlers I may have ever seen in my whole life. March 8, 1996. A real match.
86.
Yeah. Heels were referred to as the Devils of Japan.
That's the only positive thing about this match.
Announcers,
that's an awesome name.
Announcers were Lord Alfred Hayes and...
Gorilla Monsoon.
And Lord Al Hayes referred to Dump Matsumoto as she took off her gear as a big, ugly lady.
He also pointed out these women were not geishas, although he could not remember what they were called.
Yes.
He said they're not those dainty Japanese women in the kimono spreading flower petals.
And Gorilla referred to Bull Nakano as Bull Naino throughout this entire match.
He also, though, called Dawn Marie Donna Marie, so he was an equal opportunity screw-upper.
And you wonder why Dave didn't think that Gorilla Monsoon was all that good, for those that have wondered why Gorilla has not gotten more support from Dave over the years. Velvet wrestled barefoot, to which Gorilla said either she wants additional foot speed or she forgot her boots. I should note that I once wrestled barefoot and proceeded to immediately break a toe, taking an arm drag, so I don't recommend that. Dawn Marie was horrible, as mentioned, and I don't even know what to say about this match.
It became unwatchable quickly.
It was very, very bad.
It was slow.
Yeah.
It was plodding. Then when they did stuff, it was not particularly good. There was a point where I believe this was in Boston Garden, but they showed a clip of a camera angle that showed the clock in the arena, and it read 10 p.m. I just thought, imagine sitting through 2 to 3 hours of wrestling, and then this comes on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I would have killed to see a Dawn Marie versus Jenna Maraska match, because it would have been minus 10 stars on the Charmel Jenna scale. She was horrible. Velvet then made a horrible comeback. Bull cut her off, and then Velvet pinned her with a victory roll. And I know we've talked about, for example, Warrior and Hogan being better in hindsight, and perhaps other great matches of that era not holding up is the term that is often used. But this match would have been horrible at literally any time in history. I mean, if these two had followed Mildred Burke, this would have been fucking awful.
If you had showed this to Napoleon, he would have found it to be shitty.
Yes. Napoleon, you say?
I picked a dead man.
Halloween Havoc 1998, Hulk Hogan and the Warrior. I gave this negative 5 stars as noted at the time. Hadn't watched it since. And for a little bit of backstory, this was the show that also featured a Goldberg versus DDP main event. And WCW was doing a deal where they were going to give the pay-per-view fans, the loyal fans of WCW, an extra half hour of pay-per-view. And so they scheduled to go from I guess would it be 8 to 11:30? And I guess they alerted the pay-per-view companies, but the local pay-per-view companies, many of them had automatic shutoffs at 11 o'clock. And so in the middle of the Hogan versus Warrior match, mercifully, the show just went off the air. And I guess WCW the next day had to show the Goldberg versus Page match for free on Nitro, which, if I recall correctly, did a gigantic rating. And they also told everybody to call their cable companies and try to get a refund, which many people did, except I think some people on Time Warner Cable who were told that you saw half the pay-per-view, so we're only going to give you half your money back. So that was kind of a cheap-ass thing to do. But anyway, this match was...
Actually, before we get into the match, they put these pay-per-views on 24/7, and the first half is one program, basically. The second half is a separate program. So here's what we fast-forwarded through in the second half of this program. The stage had the big demon with a pumpkin rolling around. That was wacky. There was a segment that I think it lasted legit a half hour. That started off as a tag match with Rick Steiner and Buff Bagwell against Scott Steiner the Giant. It saw Bagwell walk out on his partner. Rick Steiner wrestled for a long time and then win anyway. Then apparently he wrestled Scott Steiner, and then Bagwell came back out and I guess helped Scott win. I don't know, but an amazing, very long segment. A Scott Hall versus Kevin Nash match that I recall being very terrible, and the finish was Nash powerbombing Hall twice and then walking out to lose by countout. A match between Bret Hart and a red-faced, goateed Sting. The finish was a ref bump and Bret hitting about 9,000 bat shots and then winning with the Scorpion or the Sharpshooter, and then Sting being stretchered out, and that led up to this.
So they had a match. A rematch from 1990, and it was very, very bad. It consisted of them doing nothing for about 15 minutes.
There's a lot of stalling.
And then they did a lockup, and as soon as they did the lockup, I thought, this is not -5 stars, because I didn't even mention this when talking about the women's match, but the lockups in that women's match were legitimately the worst lockups I've ever seen in my life. And think of the ground that covers with all of the independent wrestling, all of the wrestling school shows that I've seen. These were the worst lockups I have ever fucking seen. So at least Hogan and Warrior could lock up. And they did some stuff early, and it was perfectly acceptable. They did some...
no, that does not mean good.
Well, yeah, they did some arm ringers and then a tackle spot, and then Hogan...
threw punches, they threw kicks.
Well, they did a spot in the corner where Hogan gave him some punches and kicks. And apparently, I don't know what happened, but there was a very loud and audible moment where Warrior screamed, "You're killing me!" as Hogan was pummeling him in the back of the head. So apparently Hogan got a little too excited right there. Did a crisscross spot. Hogan slammed him, and then Warrior hulked up and slammed him. And it was at this point that it was very clear that the fans were far more into the heel Hogan than they were the babyface Warrior, because he sucked so goddamn bad.
Well, that and this feud was so stupid.
We had a spot where the Big Show came out and accidentally kicked Hogan, and Warrior tossed him outside. This, of course, was after a ref bump. Mm-hmm. And then out came Stevie Ray and Vincent, a.k.a. Virgil. They were both killed as well.
Wrestling superstar Virgil.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, Warrior got a visual pin on Hulk, but there was no ref. And, of course, the ref woke up, and Hogan did some more stuff. And
tapped him with the workout belt?
Yeah, he hit him with the workout belt, and then Warrior hit him. And, of course, we had the legendary spot where Hulk Hogan went for an elbow, and Warrior rolled out of the way. So Hogan went for a second elbow, and Warrior rolled out of the way. And then Warrior changed direction.
Rolled the other way.
Towards
Hogan.
Did a log roll and cut off Hogan's legs, causing him to fall down.
This is actually worse than I remembered it being.
Actually, this wasn't as bad as I remembered it. I think it's because I knew it was coming.
That may have helped. Whereas
in 1998, I was gobsmacked that this was an actual offensive maneuver in a professional wrestling match.
The log roll?
Sure. Nowadays, I've just, I've seen the ball and elbow. I've seen the fucking people's elbow, for Christ's sake.
Canadian Destroyer.
I've seen the Canadian Destroyer. I've seen a lot of stupid shit. So the log roll didn't look quite as bad as 1998. So anyway, then we had the famous spot where Hogan got a lighter and some flash paper out of his tights, and he tried to throw a fireball at the Warrior. But, of course, the fireball went off in his own hand, and Warrior had to not sell it, and they proceeded to, improvise.
It was even better. Hogan threw his hands up, then Warrior sold, then the paper ignited in Hogan's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So Horace Hogan then came out, and I guess he'd been feuding with Hulk. Hulk had cracked a chair over his head. So, of course, they did a swerve, and Horace Hogan ended up hitting Warrior with the chair, and then Hulk Hogan ended up pinning him and getting the win. In 2009, I gave this -1 star. Maybe -2 stars.
I was going to say -1 to -2, somewhere in that range.
It certainly was not a -5 star match in hindsight. I guess at the time it certainly was, and I guess...
Wrestling sucks now, though.
Well, I guess also we were watching it as a standalone match, whereas, of course, going in, this was billed as one of the biggest rematches of the decade. This was the rematch of Hogan and Warrior on pay-per-view that WCW had been building up for quite some time.
Yeah, this really was the main event of the show.
So I guess, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, then yeah, this was maybe a -5 star match. But as a standalone match, the actual wrestling action inside, I gave it -2 stars.
Yeah, and then as you were setting up the show, I watched the first opening minutes of the Paige Goldberg bout. It was, by leaps and bounds, better than anything else we watched, really, maybe this entire week.
I think I gave it 4 stars at the time, if I recall correctly.
I only watched about 3 minutes, and I just, I laugh at people who think Goldberg was overrated and had no talent, or whatever they would say.
And DDP.
And DDP.
This was a match of 2 overrated guys who weren't very good, supposedly.
Yeah.
And they had an awesome match.
But even just the way Goldberg moved around the ring, he was just an amazing athlete. And it's kind of forgotten. Because his WWE run kind of sucked.
This was following Hogan versus Warrior.
He is also following Hogan versus Warrior. He was definitely more athletic than Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior.
So there you go, everybody. 24/7. I was not nearly as amused as I thought I was going to be when I went in watching these matches. I don't know. It's like you see a great match and you're happy, or you see like a legitimate -5 star match and you're kind of happy, and then you just see 2 matches that are just really bad and it's depressing. That's kind of what this was right here. And to give it to put it in context, the Bull Nakano, Dump Matsumoto versus Velvet McIntyre and Don Marie match was in fact worse than Hogan and Warrior on this particular evening. So if you get a chance to check both of those out on 24/7,
well, don't.
It's probably better off not. Okay, let's play this last song. We played Inspector Kali. We played If You've Got the Satchel, I've Got the Ass. And that leaves just one song left, which is the Satchel Ass Mega Medley. If you can imagine such a thing. And it is so large that it took a while to get going there, so let's give this one a shot. This is from Josh Baker. Wrong button. Let me try that one again. All right, this, in fact, is...
We should do this whole show over.
Satchel Ass Mega Medley.
It hasn't been very good.
Here we go.
Satchel ass! Satchel ass! Satchel ass! Ass!
Oh, son, won't you come? Wash away the rain.
Ass!
Oh, son, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come?
Ass! Ass! Ass!
I got you.
Ass!
I got you.
Ass!
Boom, 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 boom.
Ass! Ass! Ass!
Boom, 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 boom.
Ass! Satchel ass! Satchel ass!
Now, fuck is that original song?
Ass! 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 Satchel ass! Satchel ass! Satchel ass!
That was a stretch.
Satchel ass!
That's the best part.
Why do people have this desire to do that at the very end of the song with, like, just repeated asses? I don't know.
That one song, though, was Asshole, the seminal song by Dennis Leary.
I see.
Tremendous work.
Never heard that song.
You should. It's great.
All right,
I can recite it for you.
A horrible, wretched show. A show that filled me with hatred. A show that filled me with sadness and woe. A show put together by a guy that seriously has got no fucking clue. Just no clue. Everything about this show was wrong. Like, everything. So, it opens up with him saying that tonight, Hulk Hogan, and this is a direct quote, Hulk Hogan makes his TNA wrestling debut. A lie. Right there was a lie. Desmond Wolfe comes out, and first off, there's another issue. Desmond Wolfe. What a stupid name. Wolfie McWolferson comes out, and his music is completely generic, and it includes a howling wolf. So he does his promo, and talks about how he's not the next big thing, he's the only thing. Was raised to be the world's greatest fighter. It was in his genes. Some people were designed to be common folk. He was designed to be a champion. Talks about how Angle didn't really win a gold medal. He won on points, and it was a gift, which actually some people have argued. Talked about how Angle wasn't really a tough guy. It was all a facade. Last week he laid him out twice on the show. Said in one night he became the greatest wrestler in the history of TNA, and Angle finally came out. And he cut a promo about how Desmond had overstayed his welcome. He would be leaving the company tonight. Talked about how he put over all the young wrestlers last week, and they had earned his respect, but Desmond had earned nothing. Said Wolfie had messed with the wrong guy, and nobody came into his yard and pissed in it. And the people had chanted Angle and this and that, and these two promos were actually going on quite well. Nigel did a good job. Kurt did a good job. So then, of course, Kurt announces that he is challenging Nigel McGuinness to a street fight later. Yes. The first match of the feud is a street fight on Impact, free, with no build.
A week after the debut, yes. Yeah. Besides that, everything was great. Yes, they have, I don't know.
Let me move on.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this, because I just don't care anymore. They did something stupid. Breaking news. TNA dumb.
AJ and Lauren are watching a replay of the Mystery Man attacking AJ last week. They are watching this on a TV where we're looking at the back of the TV. They don't show us the TV to see the attack, nor do they show a replay of the attack. So,
they assume.
Why do you watch it on TV? Why are they watching it on TV and we can't see it?
Because, Brian, you no doubt watched it last week, therefore you must remember in crystal clear definition what happened.
Joe walks up and tells AJ that the guy who attacked him was his bald buddy Daniels. I should note, by the way, that Joe in this segment, and also later on in the show, looked significantly trimmer than usual. I'm not sure if he's lost weight, or if he's actually not as fat as he appears in the stupid clothes they make him wear. I would guess the latter. So anyway, he looked trimmer, and he talks about how AJ had been beat up by Daniels, and he said that, or AJ says, there's no way my friend would attack me. And Joe told him he could believe whatever he wanted, but maybe he was just so mad that he could not see his own friend stabbing him in the back. And after Joe walked off, AJ pitched a fit like a little child.
Why? Why was he mad?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is a very, very stupid way to build a main event feud. I mean, the whole concept is it's a rematch, and this is their concept, a rematch of the greatest match in company history. Isn't that enough of a story?
No, it's not.
They don't need challenge games. I just like the first part of this when Detective AJ was on the case. He was studying this video, looking for evidence of who attacked him. And Lauren asked if he saw anything. And AJ replied, "It was dark."
Yeah. Then we have the Alyssa Flash versus Tara match. The announcers are busy talking about Hogan, and then they admit that the show is taped.
Yes. They told everyone this show was taped before the Hogan announcement was made, so we won't have word from any of the wrestlers. And then the best part was, then they just kept calling the match like it was live.
Yeah. So
we'll step back into the time stream now.
They got a lot of time, and the match was completely fine until the stupid finish. Alyssa Flash gives Tara a curb stomp. She puts on her stomach. She grabs her arms like a surfboard. She lifts her up in the air. She puts her foot on the back of her head, and then she stomps her face into the mat. A curb stomp. She hits this vicious move. She goes to lift Tara's dead body up, and Tara proceeds to give her finish for the pin.
That's what happened. Every part of that went down exactly like you described.
Can TNA get some agents with a fucking clue?
I just love that it was stupid even before the spinning sidewalk slam thing. She hit a curb stomp, posed for a bit, and then went to pick her up. And this goes back to our point. She's already down and laid out. Just pin her.
How? I don't know. I don't know if this match was scripted to go like this. I don't know if these two, Tara and Alyssa Flash, of all people, should know better than to have the finish be a curb stomp followed by the other person hitting their move for the pin.
That is the transition used in my first ever one-on-one wrestling match with myself and Stoney Edwards in Cloverfield, BC. I hit an elbow.
Cloverfield?
What was it called?
Cloverdale,
whatever. I hit a back elbow.
One is a shitty movie. It's a big difference.
One's a shitty town. I think it's closer than you think. Regardless, he called this spot. I hit a back elbow. He took a bump and stood up and hit a power slam and pinned me. That was Stoney Edwards and Shoulders Torelli in a sleeveless T-shirt and volleyball knee pads and tennis shoes in Cloverdale. This was on national television.
Then Kong hit the ring and booted Tara in the chest, gave her an implant buster onto Alyssa, and left them laying. This was the first match on the show, correct?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
You're going to take note. We're 1 for 1 in post-match attacks after a match, which I guess is what post-match means.
I'm going to take notes.
Getting a pen.
Because I was thinking about this during the show and getting more angry. Alyssa, Tara, Kong. Kong did the run-in.
All right, 1 for 1.
Then we had the Team 3D deal. They were in their locker room having one of those meetings that people don't actually have in real life. They're back there, and Bubba's talking about how these guys fly around a lot, referring to someone who they don't tell us who it is. We later found out it was Machine Guns. And Devon is just sitting there flexing. Like, boy, look at my biceps. So in walks Rhino. And Rhino says, "I'm not here to thank you for saving my life last week." And Bubba says, "We didn't save you from Hernandez. We saved Hernandez from Hernandez. Because you see, if Hernandez would have given you a border toss over the top rope to the cement floor and killed you, he would have been suspended," he said. Suspended.
Yes, his exact words were, "If your brains had splattered on the floor, Hernandez would have been suspended."
Yeah.
Not fired, nor arrested. Suspended.
So they also told him that if he was thinking about helping them in their match with the Guns tonight, well, the Guns had never beaten them before, and they weren't going to do so tonight, thereby telegraphing that was exactly what was going to happen. And they said that he was nothing but a conspiracy theorist and called him Lee Harvey. Since when was Lee Harvey Oswald a conspiracy theorist?
Don't know.
Did he theorize there was a conspiracy involved in his death after he died?
Don't know.
Is there a seance somewhere that I'm missing?
Don't know.
A bullshit. Bullshit this was.
There was more to come.
Team 3D and the Machine Guns. This was a match where Bubba Ray nearly killed Chris Sabin. And ironically, it occurred right when Taz was talking about what a bully Bubba Ray was.
Isn't that amazing?
Bubba Ray picks him up and he gives him a urinage right onto the back of his fucking head. They showed about 6 or 7 replays. After the 7th replay, they cut back and Devon has pressed Chris Sabin's dead body over his head.
Right.
The match is continuing. He drops him
on his feet.
I'm sorry. There was
Shelley
ran in.
Kicked Devon, and he set Sabin down on his feet. Sabin lands like a yard from his own corner and simply cannot move.
Yeah.
He cannot. He's on his hands and knees. He has no earthly idea what's going on.
No.
He cannot just reach to his right and tag in. They have to. Eventually, he pulls it together enough to lift his arm up, and Shelley tags himself in. And then the match continued.
Sabin laid there.
They had a story to tell, you see.
Sabin laid there in the corner, dead. They thought at the time that he'd broken his neck. This was not enough to stop the match. The show must go on, everybody. So he's laying there dead. They send a trainer out, a number of trainers to take care of him. And meanwhile, in the ring, the match is still going on. So it's Shelley by himself against Team 3D. They do a bunch of moves. And finally, Shelley puts Devon in a half crab. And Devon smashes his hand into the mat. The referee calls for the bell, a submission, a tap out. Devon then says, I didn't tap out. The announcers say it didn't look like a tap out. Then it's over. A complete... This was like...
I just wrote a complete disaster and a near tragedy.
This was a disaster of a segment in every conceivable way. Let's count the ways.
Someone nearly died.
Okay, first off, some guy nearly got killed. They thought he broke his neck. The match kept going. Devon gets put in a half crab and submits to Alex Shelley, which buries Team 3D.
It's actually even worse than that.
Hold on. So you've buried Team 3D because Devon, out of nowhere, taps to a half crab, and his partner just stands on the apron like an idiot. Then they announce it wasn't really a tap. So now the Machine Guns didn't even win. Then they cut away. Why was this aired? I'll tell you why. Because, well, let's talk about this at the end of the show, but the argument was, why would you air a real injury when you've got a fake injury coming up that you've got to take seriously? And Vince Russo could not understand why you would not put a real injury on TV. Why not? So they left it in.
I don't know.
And that right there killed this entire show. I'll tell you why later on, but just this segment right here.
One for the absolute ages. One of the history books. Worst segment of wrestling television ever. Everything that could go wrong did. Now, I was going to say about the post, everything between the injury and the finish was actually much worse than you described, because Shelley came in, and he was in there with, I guess, Devon first, and put on a bunch of spinning toe holds. Just put a bunch of spinning toe holds. Team 3D tagged in and out for a while, and then Shelley took over and just put on a one-legged crab, and he won.
Yeah.
So the story was Shelley tagged in and completely dominated Team 3D.
Yeah.
By himself. Just shut them down. They were helpless to overcome the submission skills of Alex Shelley.
Because you see, a guy was killed, and they had to improvise the rest of the match and go to the planned finish, which was the Machine Guns winning.
By stupid non-tap?
Yeah.
They couldn't even do a spot where, like, Team 3D is running wild and bump into each other, and then Alex Shelley hits a half grab?
No. Lauren interviewed Scott Steiner, saying Lashley had demanded he apologize to Crystal. And Steiner said, I'm sorry. Sorry that she doesn't always like to be with a real man. And he basically said, since Lashley cost me my match last week, I'm going to cost him his match this week. And then he says, I've got a big surprise for Crystal. And he looked down his pants to indicate that the big surprise was his giant cock.
By the way, we did not make note of this, but that tag match ended and there was no post-match attack.
I got it written down here.
Okay, good.
This one doesn't count because there was an injury in a finish that came out of nowhere.
It was still a disaster.
Obviously, Sabin cannot be attacked post-match. Hermie Sadler. Oh, God.
I take back what I said about Team 3D versus the Machine Guns.
This was the new worst segment.
This was the worst thing I ever saw.
Hermie Sadler. And that right there. Someone explain to me why, on a national television show, I live in Seattle, Washington, everybody, okay? There are people that watch this show in New York City. There are people that watch this show in San Jose, California, Los Angeles.
Well, one guy.
Medford, Oregon, Portland. In fact, more than that, this show goes internationally. It goes to markets all over the world. Explain to me why Hermie Sadler is an interview person for your company. The only reason that Hermie Sadler is on this show is because this is a Nashville-based company, and he's a NASCAR geek or something. Okay? It's not like this is some sort of low-level local celebrity that's actually talented in the sense that he's a great guy to interview people. For example, Bob Barker. You know what I mean? If Raw could get Bob Barker every week to interview folks for their TV show, that'd be one thing. They got Hermie Sadler, who is a black hole of charisma. He's on this worldwide television show, and he interviews Red and Don West. Red admits to the world he can't cut a promo.
Well, okay.
That's why he has Don.
It's Hermie, Red, and Don. Don and Red are sitting on the couch. Red looks maybe 7 years old. This looks like crazy Uncle Don and his touched-in-the-head nephew, Red. And so Hermie asks a question, and Red speaks first. And yes, as you noted, Red's answer to the question was basically, I cannot cut a good promo, and so I went out and got Don.
Yeah.
So then Hermie asked a question of Don West. And the question was, and I am not making this up, what do you see in the sky? What do you see in the sky?
Yeah.
And so Don started to be Don West and talk about how what Red is everything a wrestler should be, everything parents should look for in a role model. And as he's speaking, and I'm not making this up either, they cut him off mid-sentence.
Yeah. Yes.
They cut off Don West mid-sentence as he was selling Red. Then we never saw any of these people again. Well, I take that back. We saw Don West later, but...
And let me add also that all of the work that we just put into explaining this, the actual segment did not exceed 20 seconds.
No way. No way. This was... I am still shell-shocked by the horror of the segment. This was so bad.
Let me ask the question again. Why fucking bother?
There were a bunch of times in the show, because, you see, they filmed a 2-hour show, then had to cut out stuff to make room for Hulk Hogan. They left in the match where a guy nearly died.
Oh, yeah. And this.
And this.
Then we had, for no conceivable reason whatsoever, Eric Young versus Bobby Lashley for the Legends title. Maybe the match Lashley won whenever he won his last match was the #1 contenders title. I don't know. So Steiner, as promised, attacked him at ringside, right in front of the ref, clotheslines him on the floor. The ref don't care. That's fine, okay? We'll just presume it's a no DQ match. So Lashley gets in the ring. He puts Eric in the Dragon Sleeper. Steiner gets in the ring, hits him with a chair. This is a DQ. Why not?
I just like that they couldn't let Eric Young lose.
Well, he can. He's the champion.
They couldn't book a non-title match. Okay, no. Fine. If Eric Young can't lose, why did they book this match?
I don't know. Because we had to have a run-in. Anyway, so Steiner had Crystal and her titties airbrushed on his shirt, and he put Lashley in the recliner afterwards. So we can now add Steiner, Eric with...
Lashley, Eric with Steiner.
Oh, yeah. I was all confused.
Regardless.
How did Steiner run in his own match?
They have not yet found a way to do that.
Well, they will at some point.
I'm not putting it past them.
Rick Steiner did once when he was the Mystery Man. So then we had the British Invasion in the ring in matching tracksuits.
This is by far the best part of the show. World Elite, they all went out and got matching tracksuits or jumpsuits. They were like white, and they were all in the ring together. They were all wearing them, except Eric Young, who had just wrestled a match, and Homicide, who apparently just said, fuck no, I'm not wearing that.
So, Magnus says, the rumors are true. The invasion has been suspended without pay until Turning Point.
Did you hear a rumor?
I had not.
I didn't hear a rumor.
He explains
Did
that
it start a rumor?
TNA officials were upset at them for punching the ref last week in the cage match for the DQ. Remember that? The cage match that went to a DQ?
Yes.
Yeah. They've been suspended without pay. They proceed to mock the suspension and the fine, which has been levied upon them. And why not? Because they've been suspended, and here they are on TV in a major segment cutting a promo. Hell of a suspension, TNA.
The outright said it was a loophole.
Yes. He says it's not a suspension, it's merely a vacation. We're just going to have fun as we sit here in the ring and tell you about this. So then Eric Young said, I am now going to make my announcement that is going to rock the wrestling world to its foundations.
And I was hoping with all my heart that his announcement would be that they now had matching tracksuits. That would have been great.
It would have been better. The announcement that is going to rock the wrestling world to its foundations is that the Legends title is dead. He said it is now his title, his championship, his belt, and we could refer to it as the TNA Global Championship. He said there were 2 rules. Number 1, he would never defend the belt on American soil. And number 2, he would never defend the belt against an American. Which begs the question, who will he defend against if
all the foreigners are on his own team?
If he is in charge of World Elite?
Yes. Well,
so,
I don't know.
I just like that TNA management suspends the British invasion for causing a DQ in a cage match, which, by the way, they allowed, apparently. But they suspend them for that, but they're completely fine with Eric Young putting an embargo on their own championship.
Don't know. I don't know. Maybe they realize this is just a fake belt Booker brought in. After a while.
Because they announced on TV that it was now an official company title.
No,
and now he's changing the name and making his own rules, and that's fine. So, anyway, Nash comes out, moving as slowly as a glacier. And he says he wants his $60,000 in his belt back. And Eric said, listen, this should be water under the bridge. And as they're talking, suddenly beer money is in the ring, and they're hitting everybody with chairs and stop signs. I have no fucking idea why, but that's what happened, and this was a clusterfuck.
I do like when Nash said that the Sheik had paid him $60,000 in, and again I quote, Iranian dollars.
Yes.
Dollars.
Iranian dollars.
Iranian dollars.
Vince, you pay slightly more attention to me based on history. Why did beer money run in and attack the British invasion, the entire World Elite with stop signs and chairs?
I guess because they were angry about losing the cage match last week.
Yeah, there was that, wasn't there?
It was an title match.
I'd forgotten who was in the cage match. All right. Daniels met with AJ, wanted to make sure that AJ did not believe the story that Joe had told. A horribly, horribly acted segment.
Is so bad.
And actually, this should tell you what a bad actor AJ is, because Chris Daniels is a trained actor.
Yeah.
And he was fine on the rest of the show. But with AJ, they got into a huge, catty, poorly acted argument. And Daniels finally said, I'm going to go settle this with Joe.
Yeah, well, I will disagree with one of your points, because I thought the segment with Joe was just as bad.
No, I thought the one with Joe was 100 times better.
But, yes, Daniels met with AJ, and AJ says, don't worry about it. And somehow, this angered Daniels. Doesn't make sense.
That's later. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Well, okay, because he said, what do you mean you don't think it was me? Or something. And yes, the world champion and his top contender, they bickered like 12-year-old girls. And it made me want to never see them again.
Beautiful people came out and skipped to the ring.
They put up a graphic and it said, beautiful people spent $35,000 on a shopping spree in LA during BFG weekend. That's a funny thing to put on the graphic as these girls make their entrance. And that's a cool idea. The problem is, I read very quickly. And I could barely get this in the time it came up on the screen and then disappeared, so they could cut away and show us a replay of that stupid food fight.
We had the beautiful people, and by the way, that includes Lacey Von Erich, against Christy, Hamada, and ODB. A battle this was. Hamada was a one-eyed woman in the land of the blind. Actually, a two-eyed woman in this land of the blind.
Even psychic in the land of the blind.
So anyway, this was a horribly wrestled, a horribly filmed battle. Lacey was in there very momentarily with Hamada, which actually, I'm not going to say what I was thinking, but I got extremely excited. And unfortunately, she tagged out immediately. Made me very sad.
I will say that for the entire segment they were in there, the cameraman shot this from behind Lacey and Velvet, so we just saw their asses.
Yeah.
And I endorse this. I'd rather see that than watch Lacey wrestle Hamada.
Oh, no. I badly wanted to see Lacey wrestle Hamada. Badly. So Hamada finally gets the hot hand ODB. ODB runs wild. Of course, nobody's feeding her, so she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off. Bodies are everywhere. It is a complete disaster. And finally, at the finish, think about this. It's a 6-person tag with Christy, Hamada, ODB, the beautiful people, Think about all of the wrestlers you've ever seen in your entire life. Of all the wrestlers on the planet Earth, of all the living wrestlers on the Earth today, the two wrestlers they put into this ring for the finish of this match were Christy Hemme and Lacey Von Erich. Again, I ask, can TNA get some fucking agents with a clue? Lacey gets in there. I don't even know how to explain this. She did a choke slam.
I will tell you, the short version is she hit a choke slam. Hitting this choke slam,
she may as well have been building an airplane.
Yeah, it was like a 14-step process. It was like a Rube Goldberg cartoon where you must, mouse runs down track A, which spins the wheel B, which rotates the crank, etc., etc. She put her hand on Christy's neck, then she grabbed Christy's arm and threw high in the air, then on her own shoulder. Then she waved her hand out and then placed it somewhere on Christy, and then she crouched to lift. It was just like, it was amazing.
Christy Hemme and Lacey Von Erich. Can you believe that this is the finish of your match?
Yes.
They put these two in the fucking ring together for the finish of the match. I don't know.
So they did this choke slam. Lacey got the pin. They cut to ODB on the ramp, who apparently had been watching, and she just looked like she smelled the most foul thing on earth.
And what happens after the match? Kong runs in.
Kong runs in.
Kong ran in and beat everyone up. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Kong ran in to beat everyone up, and Tara ran down to break it up, and we had 6 grown men attempting to tear these women apart, and they all failed. This was some bullshit. Then we had Dr. Stevie come out, and he said that if Abyss wanted to be a monster, he could come out tonight and see the monster he had created in Stevie. And they noted that Daphne was supposed to be in this match, but she was in no condition to perform, because, of course, she broke her arm at the pay-per-view. Yes.
So, yeah, they mentioned that this was a no-DQ match because there was no better way to settle this rivalry. Was it Monsters Ball to settle this rivalry?
It gets better. They have a match. It's a hardcore match. So, of course, Stevie gets the heat by applying leg holds.
Yes.
Brilliant idea there.
This happened.
So then Abyss, out of nowhere, hits a torture rack drop for the pin.
Oh, yeah,
and
torture rock trap.
Stevie attacks him with a kendo stick. So there's another one.
Yes, and Mike Tenay said these words, and for like the 5th time on the show, I'm not making this quote up. Who cares about the match when you win the post-match battle?
Yeah.
The after-match attack is, in the words of TNA's own announcers, more important than the match itself.
Yes. So Stevie attacks him with the kendo stick, and, of course, his feud must continue. And as he's attacking him with
was not settled by the no DQ match.
As his...
God damn it. So, I don't know. This is like trying to watch... This is like putting a blind man in a car in an empty parking lot and watching him trying to drive out. It's amazing.
So he's attacking him with the fucking kendo stick, and out comes Mick Foley. Mick Foley proceeds to get in the ring, and, of course, as a swerve, he attacks Stevie. Because, you see, this is leading to Mick Foley and Abyss becoming a tag team. Why not?
All I know is this is here is where I wrote down Hulk Hogan cannot get here soon enough. He must walk in and say, I hate Vince Russo, I want him gone. And he has to go out the door. And whatever Hulk Hogan produces, it will be a better television show than this.
Borash interviews Foley about why he saved Abyss, no comment. We had Matt Morgan and Rhino. Match was all right, and Morgan wins with the carbon footprint. And so Rhino beats him up afterwards.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's
because the post-match attack is more important than the match. So he was beating him up. He hit a gore. To say Matt Morgan took a horrible bump for this gore would be such the understatement. This looked like he was not only not taking a bump or selling the gore, this looked like he was trying to stay on his feet.
Yeah.
It looked like he planted his feet and leaned his weight into Rhino, trying to separate his shoulder. And Rhino did come up selling his shoulder. So this sucked. And then Hernandez came out to do a run-in to save a guy from the other run-in.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Of course. Daniels met with Joe backstage, told him to knock the games off. And Joe said, you know what? When I talked to AJ and said you may have attacked him, he rolled his eyes, meaning your best friend doesn't think you're in his league. He told him to think about it. Then he walked off, and Chris Daniels got really mad and hit a picture of Joe.
Yeah, I thought Daniels was still no good here. I thought Joe was okay, but whatever. There are other things we'll talk about in the show.
Hold on a second. How can you say Daniels was no good when his entire role was to stand there and look at Joe as Joe spoke?
I just remember the opening when he called Joe down the hallway, and then he called Joe's name, and Joe turned around, and Daniels approached him, and then he had a short monologue. In that short monologue, I thought to myself, I don't believe you.
Homicide cornered Don West and demanded a title match at Bound for Glory. He then proceeded to rob him. He took out his wallet. He took money out of his wallet on national television. And then he took his driver's license and said he was going to hold it until the pay-per-view.
I don't know.
His driver's license.
Maybe he was looking for his library card and couldn't find it. But yes, Don West was doing the house show plug when Homicide ran in to intimidate him into getting a title shot.
He's going to hold his driver's license.
And
is he renting bowling shoes?
I don't know.
What do you have to leave your license with someone for?
To buy. Well, now he can't prove he's 21 and can't buy liquor.
Everybody. Homicide took his driver's license and said he's holding on to it until the pay-per-view. Why?
You know, I know we've all done it. I know going to the DMV is no fun, but you can get a replacement license. It's not that hard. I cannot hate this because of Don West's performance. He was so terrified.
JB interviews Angle, who's a babyface, who, by the way, is still wearing all of his main event Mafia stuff.
I forgot to mention this during the intro, but yes, he has his music back and he's a total babyface, but he still has pinstripes and roses on his gear and his video.
So she's interviewing him, and I don't even know what he said, because the next thing you know...
I'm so happy. My notes read, I wasn't paying attention. Something about somebody in power trying to get rid of him.
But the next thing you know, AJ is down backstage and bleeding out of the back of his head. And Lauren asks, is he okay? And they immediately cut away, because it's only their world champion who's apparently dead. More important things to do.
Gotta pay the bills.
They go to commercial, they come back, and an ambulance is zooming off, and Lauren is saying that he is being taken to the hospital after being beaten up for the second time in a row. So I guess they were referring to last week. It would have been nice to tell us and clear that up. And by the way, yes, I'll just talk about this when I talk about the main event. Angle and Nigel McWolferson, they have a match, and it is, of course, Desmond's first TNA match for free on Impact in a street fight. And the best part is the street fight never leaves the ring.
Yeah. Well, they did brawl on the floor.
So they have this match. Angle beats him all over the place. Nigel tries the loop-de-loo lariat. Angle ducks, hits the rolling Germans, and he hits the last German. Nigel pops up, there's an edit, and then he clotheslines him, and Angle takes this big bump. Earl Hebner then drops down and basically says, the match can't continue, he's hurt. They proceed to stretcher out Angle. Let's think about this for a while. When you read the spoilers, and you read about the debut of Nigel McGuinness did not go to WWE, everybody. He went to TNA. You read about that in the spoilers, and you're like, wow, this is some big news. A guy he's gone to TNA, the former ROH champion, not going to WWE. He debuts in TNA. Not only that, he's going to be feuding with Kurt Angle. He gets pushed right to the top. He attacks him on week 1. And then week 2, he lays him out with a lariat, and Angle is stretchered out. This is like, when you read this, you're like, this is fucking big. This is going to be really cool. Then you watch the show. If you've got an angle where a guy debuts in the ring, and he lays out Kurt Angle with a clothesline, and Kurt Angle is stretchered out of the building and taken to the hospital. That's a big thing. So why, in the previous segment, the segment that immediately precedes this, you do an angle where AJ Styles is laid out and taken off in an ambulance? That right there is just like, you should be fired from TNA. You should be banished from the professional wrestling business. You should never, ever be allowed to book another pro wrestling show as long as you live. That is the absolute utmost in goddamn stupidity right there. To do an ambulance angle right before you're going to do a stretcher angle that's supposed to make an impact. I mean, this is just like all the years Vince Russo's been in this business. All these years. And he still doesn't have clue one. Gets better. You have a guy earlier in the show that gets hurt. Gets hurt legit. Dropped right on his head. They think he might have broken his neck. He can't move. People go up to him and say, hey, you know, we probably shouldn't put this on the show if you want this main event angle with Angle and Nigel to have any impact. Oh, no. Why the fuck would you not air a real injury on TV? The guy really got hurt. We got to put this on TV. So we get earlier in the show, a fucking guy get dropped right on his neck, seemingly paralyzed, seemingly broken neck. The match continues. When Kurt Angle takes a clothesline in the main event, they stop the fucking match. I mean, this is just like, how? This moment was when I thought, Hulk Hogan, please, bring in fucking Kevin Sullivan. Bring in fucking Ed Leslie. Bring in the fucking Nasty Boys.
Yep.
Bring in all of
Jimmy
your
Hart.
goofball friends.
Nasty Nick.
I like Jimmy Hart. Bring in Nick Hogan. Bring in Brooke. Bring in, I was going to say The Wall, but he's passed on. Bring in every goofball that you know, every geek that you hang around with. Bring in fucking Bubba the Love Sponge. Make him the world champion. I do not give a fuck. I do not give a fuck what you do. Vince Russo's got to go. I mean, this show right here is just... And we wrote about it. We wrote about how everybody backstage realized that these people had no idea what they were fucking doing. And at the time, I was like, they've not known what they were doing for a long time now, you know? What's different this week? Then I watched this show. Holy creeping Christ. This is the worst.
This was very, very bad. And to top it all off, by the way, during the Kurt Angle versus Desmond Wolfe match, Mike Tenay made an announcement. Chris Sabin's going to be fine.
Yeah.
The guy with a real injury, he's going to be okay. So I guess there's nothing to worry about here in these other two fake injuries.
Oh, my God. This is just This is like a parody of Vince Russo booking. That's how bad this was. This is like if somebody said, I'm going to do a Saturday Night Live skit on Vince Russo booking a wrestling show, and they came up with this.
Well, to be fair, there was nothing on a pole in the show. All was missing.
I'd have preferred a pole. I would have preferred 2 pole matches to stretchering out AJ Styles and putting him in an ambulance, and the real-life injury that detracted from the main event that you just had to air on TV.
You should have had a shot of the stretcher crew carrying Kurt into the parking lot and saying, oh, shit, the ambulance is gone.
Like last week when they put Rhino in the ambulance, and was it Rhino?
It was a couple weeks ago. He had the match.
They put him in the ambulance, and Lashley standing there with his ribs busted.
Exactly,
They just left him there. So then the show ended with clips from the press conference, and I was never so happy to see Hulk Hogan. I was just begging for this guy to just walk in and just leave bodies in his wake. Just a rampage of fire everybody and bring in all your friends. I so don't care at this point.
No.
I don't care.
The press conference was pretty much nothing. And Dixie said he's famous. We're happy to have him.
Give Kevin Nash the book.
Why
That's
not?
how little I care.
Why not?
Give Kevin Nash and Kevin Sullivan the book. Let them write this show. I guarantee it will be better. I guarantee it.
So then Hogan is talking. He goes into his "What you gonna do" speech when he never said the words TNA. It was Hogan and Spike TV and Dixie
I think
Carter.
he mentioned TNA a couple times.
I
was counting.
On that line he didn't. But and he started to say, when we all run wild on you. And then again, for the 47th time in the show, they cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
They cut off Hulk Hogan mid-sentence. Their biggest signing ever. They cut him off mid-sentence. The other note of this press conference was they plugged at Dixie Carter's Twitter page.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's 2. I've loaded it. There are 2 tweets on this page. Let's see. About 11 hours ago, celebrated the Hogan signing at staff meeting this morning with champagne and donuts. A new beginning for TNA. Then, about 6 hours ago. Okay. Many of you have told me to remind people to watch Impact tonight. By the way, she spelled U with the letter U, but still took time to write Impact as lowercase I and the rest all in capitals with an exclamation point. I am pouring a glass of wine and getting ready to, single O, myself. Big night! And it was. It was a big night.
Oh, my God. And by the way, for those keeping track, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on this show. 5 of them involved a post-match attack or run-in, and the only 2 that did not were the real injury and the fake injury.
The fake injury that led to a referee stoppage in a street fight.
That never left the ring.
Never left the ring. So get the thumbs down. I piss on this show.
I think this may... The barbed wire Christmas tree set new standards.
There have been shows that I was in a much fouler mood. Maybe it's just because I don't know. The show sucked.
This show sucked a penis. Mickie James and Jillian Hall for the women's title. What a horrible piece of shit segment we were about to witness. First, Mickie James and Jillian Hall come out, and they have a horrendous match. I mean, actually, as I was watching Bull Nakano and Dump Matsumoto versus Velvet McIntyre and Dawn Marie, I was thinking to myself that it was, in fact, worse than the Jillian Hall match on Raw. That should tell you something right there. It was, however, horrible. So they had this horrendous match, and Jillian wins in like a minute with a powerbomb. So she starts freaking out and screaming and celebrating with her belt and wants to sing her favorite song and this and that. And out came Nancy O'Dell. She says, I have made a call to the other GM, and we're going to do a major Divas trade. Now, why they're trading Divas right before the Bragging Rights pay-per-view is a mystery. But let's just accept it. So she says that the good news, Jillian, is you're still on Raw, which to me is bad news. But anyway, you're still on Raw, but you've got to face Raw's newest acquisition, who just happened to be Melina. I stood up and I screamed, boo, at the top of my lungs. I was full of hate. They proceeded to have a match which was supposed to be 1 move long. All they had to do was have Melina hit her splits finisher on Jillian. Of course, they fucked up the only move in the fucking match. So they immediately, Melina told her to kick out. Melina then hit her other move, the Code Red, and got the pin. She is the new Divas champion. This pained me to the core. This pained me to the depths of my being, and I was very sad.
First of all, poor Mickie. She's been champion for a while. She's mostly had horrible matches. And then she comes out here and she loses to Jillian Hall in a horrible match in a minute.
Indeed.
She jumped up on the ropes and got powerbombed, and Jillian put her foot on the ropes to win, and then Mickie disappeared. We never saw her again.
Never.
I don't know what she did to piss someone off. Maybe she stopped blowing someone, and thus she was destroyed on television here, but it was wretched. Then Nancy O'Dell came out. She began to speak, and in the process, she interrupted her own ring intros.
Yes.
She then told Jillian to stop singing. The only flaw here was that Jillian was not singing, so she began to start singing at that point. Then Nancy announced this dumb trade for no reason. And all I could think of this whole time was, a title just changed hands. I know it's just the Divas Championship. I know it's probably the bottom of the totem pole, but could you pretend it matters for a second? Just for 1 second, pretend that someone winning a championship is important.
No, it's not.
She then announced the trade, and then announced you'll be defending that title right now. So Nancy O'Dell traded for Melina, and then booked Mickie versus Jillian with the winner to face Melina immediately thereafter. Again, why would they hate Mickie this much? They want her to lose so badly.
She's leaving the brand.
I hope so. So the only positive here was, as Melina was making her entrance, Jillian was terrified and was frantically trying to strap the belt on herself so she could at least say she wore it for a little while. That did make me laugh. Then they botched their only move. Melina made a cover. And I should have just wanted the segment to end, but I screamed, "Don't pin her!" because it would have been that much worse. So she kicked out, and then she hit her other move. and got the win. Right before this match started, by the way, Michael Cole said, and this is a direct quote, "What a wacky night this has been."
Yeah.
This is the worst Raw segment in years and years.
I wouldn't go that far. But
And right here is where I was just pacing down the hallway of my house shouting, "I hate this show, I hate this show," over and over again.
The 10-inch gun.
that was good.
That was wacky.
That was very good. All right, let's talk about this 24/7. And then we'll play a few more songs and wrap it up. So, what did we watch? We watched Mickie James about 76 times.
They did the exact same Mickie James promo for each one of these matches. She was standing there being the world's hottest baseball player, saying this is her Halloween costume, asked us if we would like to see her knocking on the door dressed like this, and as you noted, this is a porn. This is the intro to every porn ever. Then she threatened to hit us from the bat or something, I don't know, and then she introduced the matches. Odd.
It was odd indeed. Let's talk about these matches here very quickly. As noted, we watched a bunch of different ones. I believe they were in the shorties area of the program guide, Delia Bob. First we saw Cactus Jack versus Arachnaman. January 9, 1992, WCW main event. Arachnaman was a low-rent version of Spider-Man, played by Brad Armstrong.
Mickie was appalled by this gimmick.
And by the time this match was over, I decided Arachnaman had to have been the best worker in WCW in 1992. He was great. Mick Foley was fat, although remarkably agile and mobile, and he actually was working during this match. You would never know this was the guy who made his name off hardcore matches. He was a wrestler, he grappled, he exchanged holds, and then in the end they fucked up the finish, and Jack won holding the tights. What can you do?
We talked about guys who are deceptively big. Mick Foley looked enormous in this match, like 6'9".
I've said this many times.
But yes, Brad Armstrong was awesome as Arachnaman. He was also posing like Spider-Man at literally any opportunity. They would go to a lockup and back up, and he would strike a Spider-Man-like pose. It was really quite an impressive dedication to the art. And that being said, the match was pretty crappy, and the finish was blown, and nobody cared, and it was a failure in every way.
Buddy Wayne and I did a show in Idaho once, and Mick Foley was there, and I met him, and he is so big, Vince. He is so much bigger than you. He's like, remember when Craig had the big hair?
Yes.
Foley, I think, was bigger.
Really?
Like all over.
I've only
a gigantic human being.
Yeah, I've only met him one time when he was sitting down, but even then, he exudes bigness.
He is a large, large man. Randy Savage versus Doink the Clown. August 2nd, 1993. I was not going to watch this match until I saw that the preview stated it was 18 minutes long. My curiosity was piqued. I watched the match, and I will say this. As stupid as the gimmick was, a clown, a wrestling clown, the circus on Monday Night Raw, as stupid as this gimmick was, Matt Bourne could work. He was great in the role. The heat that the clown got working over the other clown was amazing. And it wasn't like it was out of this world heat or anything like that, but the fact that it's even got heat. A clown versus Randy Savage. Endlessly fascinating. So, in the end, this ended up being like a great TV match that just happened to have one guy dressed up in a green wig with face paint and bells or whatever he wore.
Stars.
So, Doink finally missed a big-ass cannonball off the top or something. Savage rolled outside, went under the ring. From out the other side came a midget in a Macho Man outfit. Not just a midget in a Macho Man outfit, but a midget in a Macho Man outfit wearing a Macho Man mask. This was the most terrifying entity I've ever seen.
Now, here's what this is the key detail. This mask was designed for an average-sized person's head. So when the Macho Midget came out wearing this, his head was suddenly like 8 sizes too big.
Yes.
And was Randy Savage.
Remember that the dwarf from Argentina or whatever it was on the internet a while back? The kids that were outside and they filmed the midget with the hat on. The gnome, the creepy gnome. That skittered across the street. I think this thing was more scary, actually. So Doink, however, began laughing uproariously at this creepy gnome, and Savage snuck into the ring and small packaged him for the pin. What a battle!
I was just happy to see.
I became a fan during this era. It was a little bit before this era, but the point is, I survived this era. My fandom did not. I did not go on and do better things with my life.
You know, I can remember my buddy Jim he watches wrestling off and on. He will watch it for like a month every year and then give up on it, and it's been that way pretty much since he started. I remember in high school once he asked me, "So, anything interesting happening in wrestling these days?" And I said, completely deadpan, "Crush is feuding with a guy named Doink the Clown." And he put his head in his hands and he walked away. That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see this because we got to hear the evil Doink music, which is one of the most underrated wrestling theme songs ever. As he made his way down to the ring, Vince McMahon at least 3 times used the phrase "evil clown." To make it clear, this is not a nice clown or a friendly clown. This is an evil clown. So they had the match. It was really fun. It went 18 minutes. You
should have just done what Triple A did and just called him Murder Clown.
Murder Clown. So I don't know if the 18 minutes counts the commercial breaks we didn't see or not, but at no point did this really feel like it dragged.
No.
It was a really good match.
A thumbs-up match.
And given how good the match was, and it was in the era when Raw was doing smaller buildings, this looked kind of like an armory. It was packed, but it was not an arena or anything, and it really felt like, and this will sound silly, but it felt like a Ring of Honor match with the goofiest gear ever.
Yeah.
But the match was really fun, and Savage won, and all was right in the world. This is the best thing we watched on 24/7 this week.
And then the midget bit Doink on the ass somehow while wearing a mask.
Yes.
Don't know how that works.
He's a powerful, powerful midget. Also in here,
Shark Boy used to do that too.
That's a powerful, powerful shark. Vince McMahon on commentary noted here that Randy Savage was a surefire future Hall of Famer. Duly noted.
Legion of Doom versus the Rockers for the WWE Tag Team, WWF Tag Team titles. Superstars of Wrestling, December 28th, 1991. This went about 4 minutes. Rockers tried a bunch of wacky high spots, and Animal and Hawk also were not midgets, or not gymnasts, or midgets, or gymnasts. So they tried a bunch of wacky rolls out of everything, and it looked very, very awkward. They got the heat on Shawn. He finally tagged Marty. Marty ran wild. And then they had the most awesome finish ever based on what they were doing. This was back when things actually made sense. Shawn and Marty reverse a whip. Shawn backdrops Marty, who lands on his feet. They dropkick Hawk, I believe. Marty runs at Animal and does a crossbody, and Animal catches him. Shawn is going to dropkick Marty so that he will fall on top of Animal for the pin. However, as he throws a dropkick, Animal turns around, so Shawn dropkicks Animal, who falls on top of Marty for the pin. So they're double teaming fucked up. Shawn, and again, this is why wrestling was so much better back then, Shawn then starts blaming Marty. It's your fault! Even though he's the guy that threw the fucking dropkick and cost his partner the match. He starts yelling at Marty that it's all his fault. They could have won the tag titles. The announcers, I don't even know if they even bothered to say anything because it was all the way that Shawn was doing the thing and Marty was doing the thing. Shawn yells at him. He slaps him across the face. He slaps him again. Marty just stands there. Finally, Marty gets pissed and he reaches up and grabs Shawn by the throat. Shawn drops to a knee like a coward. Marty puts his hands on his hips and walks out of the ring. The fans boo Shawn. It was a perfect fucking setup for the barbershop, which everybody still remembers to this day, because again, This was back when you did slow build angles over a long period of time. You didn't change your fucking mind because the people weren't getting behind Marty enough or because Sean wasn't getting enough fucking heat. You just went through with it. This was great.
This was really, really great. The match, I feared a Styles Clash, especially since I think Legion of Doom were technically also babyfaces at this point. I feared disaster, but it was mostly fun. The Road Warriors would do power moves, such as the point where I know it's silly to talk about Animal pressing Marty like we're supposed to be impressed or surprised, but he lifted Marty Jannetty like it was nothing over his head. Just like I would have to work harder to lift my jacket over my head than he lifted Marty Jannetty here. And then the Rockers would get beat up for a while, but they would do a bunch of flips and rolls and double teams, and it felt the story was they always had the Road Warriors off balance because they were being a better tag team than these two giant lumbering men. And everything was going their way until the very end when Animal just did a little half turn and he ended up on top of the pin. So it needed to be. I could have watched this match for like 3 times as long, which only would have been 9 or 10 minutes. But for what we saw left me wanting more. And then the angle was perfect, and it led to it's one of the most famous turns of all time. So there you go.
Oz. That's all I have to say.
We watched Oz.
Oz versus Ron Simmons. Oz, of course, was Kevin Nash. The preview for this said the match was 14 minutes long. This I had to see. Great American Bash, 1991. Mickie James opened up the segment and said that the Oz get-up, quote, "It's pretty silly if you ask me." No shit! Oz came out of a green castle to the theme to Edward Scissorhands, I believe. He was dressed up as the Great Oz. He had a mask, a beard, a huge hat.
A green robe.
A green robe.
Huge nose, bushy eyebrows.
Yes. He was accompanied by the Great Wizard, who sadly was not Ernie Roth. It was Kevin Sullivan. They got to the ring. They took off the get-up. Ron Simmons came out. Nash was very young, very wide, a little chubby, fucking god-awful in the ring. You think Nash is bad nowadays? My God.
He is significantly better now as a cripple than he was when he was healthy.
Nash is Vader. He's Brock Lesnar at his peak.
He's Taker now.
He's Undertaker on his best day. He was horrible. They fucked up a drop toe hold, which may have been about the 8th of Nash's 256 knee surgeries. It took 3 attempts for Ron Simmons to clothesline him out of the ring. Nash may have blown out his knee again. This was so much worse than the Dump Matsumoto match last week.
Oh, God. It was funny because I actually asked you that at one point. Is this worse than the Dump Matsumoto match?
This was right before the 3 clothesline
attempts. And that was when Ron Simmons tried over and over again to clothesline Kevin over the top rope. And then finally he did, and he appeared to blow out both ankles and both knees.
Nash got the heat. It was wretched.
He used very dramatic axe handles.
False knees is the only way I can describe it. Fake knees to the abdomen.
They were bad.
And then Ron made a comeback and hit 3 football tackles, which Nash, the worst bumps you've ever seen. Like, worse than wrestling school first day trainee bumps. And then Simmons pinned him. An abortion of a battle.
This is traumatic. I am not yet emotionally recovered from this.
This was so much worse than Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior last week. Oh, my God.
This was grand incompetence. And the fact that it opened with, I don't even know, the circus? The Magical Mystery Tour that is Oz's entrance, it just had to be seen to be believed. And I saw it back in the day, and I had to see it again to recall how horrible it was. Now, here's the kicker about this whole thing, everyone. This wrestling match right here that went for 14 minutes and was never any good, was on pay-per-view. Green American Bash.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Bad.
Thumbs down.
Profound badness. All right, let's play a song here and see how this goes. America.
That bastard!
Didn't we play this a while back?
Are you ready to shake it out?
Maybe.
Satchel ass!
Excessive blubber. No, he didn't. Globular.
Pork and beans.
ton of fat. Overweight.
Ass wider than his shoulders. Fat son of a bitch. Hogan!
Satchel ass pants.
That's enough! An example why you don't do crystal meth. Oh, them young cows out there. They're so sweet. Fat, blonde-headed, bloated, gyrating fool.
The cows made it.
I think that may have set the record for the most drops ever in one song. Now let's try one more. He made 2 of them. Actually, made about 6.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Ass.
That's no good.
Satchel ass. Fuck his ass.
Colon.
Ass. Satchel ass. Sex from behind.
Over.
Ass. Ass. Satchel ass. Break your back and fuck your ass. Makes you humble.
Colon.
Ass.
That's a very creative one right there.
Was easily, by far, the funniest song about sodomy I've ever heard.
Reading an email that I got about our buddy Brent. As many of you are aware, is locked up right now. He's in a home in Minneapolis. And Nathan here visited Brent. And of course, we've had Brent on the show many times, and Brent is a fireball of wackiness. And he's goofy, and he's good for some comedy. And a while back, we got an email from Brent where he said that he was locked up in the loony bin again, as he said. And he wanted me to call for an update. So I called on the air, of course, and didn't know what I was in for. Did not know. And Vinny, you heard the show with young Brent.
I did.
As many of you did. And it caught me off guard. It was a more tragic tale than I had expected going in. I thought, he's locked up for a couple days. He'll get out, go back home. This will be something to tell his no children about, that sort of deal. But instead, it was more like, wow, Brent is not doing well right now. He's locked up. He's not getting out anytime soon. This is not good. I'm going to read this email from Nathan here, because Nathan does not go on the board. He refuses. He's a wise man.
Indeed.
So he wants to get the word out. So I'm just going to read this right here before we get on to the fun and hijinks on this show. Hate to start on a dour note, but he writes, so I visited Brent in the hospital tonight. Ran the full spectrum of emotions. I feel sort of bad because I went into this thing originally thinking, A, it's oddly intriguing, B, he's a member of the Empire, stuck in my city with nobody he knows, and C, it might be a laugh. And it is still a laugh, believe me, even Brent will tell you so. But at the same time, it's a really grim situation, the magnitude of which I had not fully realized until last night, when I called him to tell him I wouldn't be visiting. Well, obviously I changed my mind. I'm glad for his sake that I did. I don't want to take up any more of your time now. If you want a full update, I'm more than happy to oblige. Just let me know. In the meantime, I do have one favor to ask, and I know you're busy, but I don't really care for posting on the board due to the trolls. Can you mention, one way or another, that anyone living in the Twin Cities is more than welcome to email me if they'd like to visit and or help Brent in any way. I'll be in California for the next week and unable to visit him, should he still be here. That is from Nathan. So if you are interested in helping out Brent, or if you live in the Twin Cities and you would like to go visit him, he very much would like visitors. He's in a rough way right now, and I really feel sorry for Brent. Normally I don't think he should be locked up, but when I had him on the show, he appeared very manic, and more so than usual. So maybe it is best that he is off the streets for a little while, but at the same time, it's very, very tough on him, and I don't know how he is going to ultimately behave. So, if you are in the area and you're interested in meeting up with Brent, just drop me an email and I will give you the information, or I'll forward you the information from Nathan or to Nathan, and you guys can all figure something out. So, any help would be appreciated. I feel bad for him being in there, and if you've got some spare time, believe me, Brent Crummett has nothing to do in there. Nothing. Think of how manic he was on the show, and he has absolutely no outlet. They allow him on the internet for about 5 minutes a day. He has none of his books. He has nothing. He's just sitting there going stir crazy. So if you could, if you got some time, might be something to check out. I know he's dropped a line to Wade Keller and James Caldwell, he said, because Wade, of course, lives in Minneapolis. I'm not sure he understands that James lives in Houston, I believe. So that one's not going to be happening. And, of course, I'm a little far away to be visiting him. But, again, if you'd like to meet up with Brent, let us know, and we will hook you up. We would very much appreciate it. So, with that out of the way, with that dour note out of the way, let's get Granny here on the line and brighten our day.
Somas and some coffee in me, and then I hit the gym, feeling better, some more somas, and then I'm ready. I'm ready to roll.
I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Oompa-loompa-doompa-dee-dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me. What do you get when you guzzle down?
Ball of Jack, Coors Light, pills, lesbian, somas, and some coffee, a Jack Daniels cooler.
Eating as much as an elephant eats.
What are you at getting?
Fucking tanked.
What do you think will come of that?
I don't think he cares.
Oompa-loompa-doompa-dee-da. If you're not greedy, you will go far. You will live in
Cash flow, baby.
like green Oompa-loompa-doompa-dee-doo.
Troll like laughing. Oh, Buddy Wayne. And Couture, of course, sends me a song, but he sends me a link. Don't do that, everybody. If you want to send a song to this program, the way to do it is send the file to figure4@ix.netcom.com. If you send the file, I'll be able to play it here on the air, and if you do not send the file, well, I'm not going to play it here on the air. Luckily, I have found the email from Couture that had the actual file, so I'm going to play this. He wanted me to play it around the time that we're going to have producer Al on. It is a tribute to IATA. This should be good. Here we go.
What's the name of the man that does this interview?
Me? Dave Meltzer.
Oh, sorry. I always forget the name of people who suck.
So here I am with my thoughts of you, and this world I've left for me.
You think the stock could go down if they officially announced that The Rock is black?
Stoic faces when I think of you.
I'll pay $5 to $10 extra a ticket to keep the luchadors and the Japanese off the card.
Now I once believed.
Is that Vince Russo?
Hey, Dave?
Yes.
I got a nickname for you, Dynamite Dave.
Okay, cool.
Vince McMahon the way he is. I think Ray Keller's full of shit, to be honest with you.
I want to go to Alex in Puerto Rico since he's calling on a payphone.
I just got your newsletter.
Okay.
I still haven't got my free booklets yet.
Get your address to me and I'll send them out to you.
Alexander Arthur.
Actually, I don't think it's
Hey, David, save my show.
What do you want me to do? Ask about pride or something?
Oh, the good old days of IATA. Oh, the good old days. I should send that file to Al, actually. He'd probably have a good cackle about that one. WCCW, August 13th, 1983. What a deal this was.
First of all, when discussing the show, you have to discuss not only the world-class show, but the opening and closing segments hosted by the 2009 versions of Michael Hayes and Kevin Von Erich.
Well, you can talk about the opening, I'll talk about the closing.
Well, I'm going to have a lot to say about both, actually. Actually, more about the closing, but they were just running down the matches we'd see on the show, such as an appearance by Jose Lothario, who Michael Hayes informed us was maybe not known to the general audience, but he was a great trainer, and he trained a man named Shawn Michaels. Kevin Von Erich then described Shawn Michaels as, and I quote, a hell of a talent.
He is.
Oh, he is.
We want accuracy here.
I'm not arguing.
Shawn Michaels is a hell of a talent.
Yes. So, and then Hayes started talking about the Iceman King Parsons versus Buddy Roberts feud. There had been a hair match, and Roberts had put on a wig and a wrestling headgear to keep it on, and they were still wrestling over and over and over again. And Michael Hayes said, and this is also a quote, "It's amazing how rivalries would continue and continue, but you wouldn't see them fight every week. We would just talk about it." And I thought, what a great idea.
Yeah. So the opener was Mr. Ebony, who was Tom Jones, a black guy in a mask, against Mike Reed, who coincidentally was built like a reed. The very definition of a preliminary match. The only thing I have of note, the only thing I wrote down basically was, these ropes were so loose I'd have refused to work.
Well, there's that. Mr. Ebony was wearing, I don't know where he found these, but teal karate pants and a red mask. He was like a smaller, more in-control Ezekiel Jackson. He did a lot of clubbering, and then one with the flying full Nelson.
Yeah.
The end.
This was like an ECW squash, just worse. Michael Hayes cut a promo, and this man works for WWE to this day.
Yeah.
And all WWE promos, for the most part, suck. Try to explain the process of this to your average person who does not follow wrestling. That a guy who can cut promos as great as Michael Hayes has a group of guys on his show that largely cannot cut promos. So, Buddy Roberts was there as well. He just lost the hair match, was wearing the wig and headgear. I love that gimmick to the point that at some point in Tulalip, I may have to lose my hair just to do it. That's how much I love that gimmick. That led us to Chris Adams and Jose Lothario versus Grand Marcus and the Mongol, who was basically wearing a, actually this was Grand Marcus, a Dr. Wagner Jr. mask. Classic tag team pro wrestling. They did a do-si-do spot. Jose got hot tag and ran wild. He actually looked older on this show than he did in 1996 when he was doing vignettes with Shawn Michaels and appearing on TV. Adams tagged in, did some lucha with Marcus. I was sitting there thinking, okay, this was fun for a while. It is now going on forever. And we soon found out why. It went to a time limit draw. I enjoyed this for the wackiness that it was.
There's a lot of wackiness going on.
There was a charm. There was a charm here that is missing from wrestling in 2009.
There was a point where Grand Marcus threw an absolutely atrocious punch, and Chris Adams took a horrible bump, and the crowd responded by going, "Go, Chris, go!" They didn't care that it was horrible wrestling, because they cared about the people involved.
Yeah.
That made it very charming. The Mongol, as was noted in the room, if Quentin Jackson saw this man, again, much like myself, he would just die laughing, because this man had titties. And unlike myself, who chose his singlet to cover as much of his chest as possible, the Mongol chose his singlet to somehow push his titties up and out.
Yeah.
Poor fashion choice. Very unflattering. So they had their wacky little match. I also want to note on the Michael Hayes promo, yes, it was awesome, but his point, all he really said was, there was a rematch coming up for the tag team titles between the Freebirds and Von Erichs, and all Michael said was, the Von Erichs are rich and don't need to wrestle, so Fritz, if you love your sons, they better not show up at the rematch. That's all he said. But the camera was zoomed in on his face, his eyes were bugging out, he was sweating, he was screaming, and it was awesome. And then they went to Buddy Roberts, and I think it was Bill Mercer, but he says, "Buddy Roberts, how's your hair?" and Buddy scowled at him and said, "How was your face?" This promo made me weep with joy.
Buddy Roberts and Iceman King Parsons. Anybody who has this, by the way, check out right front row, not front row, but it's dead center on the hard camera, about 5 or 6 rows up. Ed in fucking San Antonio is there, having gone in a time machine back to 1983, because he looks exactly the same. This match was... It was a wrestling battle.
They exchanged holds.
It was really the best. There was a headgear gimmick. The fans chanted, "Go, King, go." It was the lightest work imaginable. Great heat, almost no bumps. Just completely my kind of match.
As you noted, if wrestling was still like this, we would be doing it every week.
Now, I can't guarantee, but I'm pretty goddamn sure that when Kurt Angle lost his hair in WWE and came back with the headgear gimmick, he had to have watched Buddy Roberts do this gimmick. Because if you actually watch Buddy Roberts and the way he moves and the way he sells and certain bumps he takes, Kurt Angle had to have watched this guy and stolen shit from him. It's uncanny, some of the likenesses in these two guys, especially doing the headgear gimmick. So anyway, Iceman made a comeback and then won with a small package. Bronco Lubitsch was the ref. He did not bother even dropping all the way down. He just got on one knee and nonchalantly counted the pinfall.
He was out of position, too.
Yeah.
He was like almost, if 180 degrees would be exactly the wrong side, he was about 120 degrees.
This is one of those shows where I always thought, like, if I were watching this in 1983, how could I not know it was phony? And a great example of it was, after the match, Iceman King Parsons goes to pull off the wig and the headgear, and he can't get it off. But he pulls it up far enough that you can see that Roberts is still bald. Meaning his hair had not grown at all in all these weeks, or he was shaving it regularly, yet supposedly embarrassed of it. These are these little things. It was great, though.
It was great, and every time Parsons would go for the wig or the headgear, even a little bit, the crowd would squeal with anticipation. And then he would get cut off, and the fans would chant, "Baldy!" Because seeing a bald head was so shameful in 1983. And the last one after the match, especially when he got it pulled about 3 or 4 inches up his forehead, and then escaped and sprinted and scampered to the back, and everyone was just dejected, but they wanted to see more next week.
Buddy Rose did the hair angle, where he got his head shaved, and he was all embarrassed, and so he came back with a wig and the whole 9 yards. And so all the heels, of course, were trying to unmask him to show the world his bald head, and he kept escaping week after week after week, and it built up heat, and people got more and more angry, and this and that, and finally the day came where they finally pulled it off, and his hair had grown back.
Yes.
And Buddy thought he had the last laugh, but no! The babyfaces had a secret camera in the locker room where they had taken photos of Buddy's bald head, and so they sold them as merchandise and made a killing.
Awesome.
This is fucking pro wrestling. There's another one I want to steal for Tulalip. I got all these ideas. Then we had Kerry Von Erich and Michael Hayes. And
part of their best of 1 million series.
Hayes did a lot of strutting, and they did a bunch of arm ringers and a bunch of holds. Basically, this was Michael Hayes idiot-proofing a match.
Yes.
And God bless Kerry Von Erich, but
if ever a match needed to be idiot-proofed,
he was really not very good.
No.
Especially in 1983.
Yeah.
So
there's a point very early where Kerry grabbed the arm and started doing arm ringers and twisting it, and then he just let go. And Hayes, for a second, tried to hold his arm there and sort of push it back into Kerry's hands, and then decided, fuck this, and just rolled out of the ring and started to strut, trying to save things.
Yeah.
There was also a point where Michael Hayes grabbed a headlock, and Kerry Von Erich tried to power out of it into a wrist lock, and he struggled and struggled and struggled, and the fans were just going, batshit. It was a glory to behold.
They chanted, "We want the claw." He got it on. He got thwarted. And then we had a high cross at the finish, followed by a cradle for the pin, Kerry pinning him. I was actually just shocked to see all these main eventers being pinned clean. It was so alien to me in 2009. And then, of course, Hayes got his heat back immediately by hitting Kerry with a pile driver, at which point they went to the show closing deal where Chris Adams was doing an interview, but they made sure to alert us that Kerry was fine.
He'll be back.
He didn't really get hurt.
He'll
be back. He'll be back next week. Don't worry, everybody. The pile driver didn't really hurt. And then Chris Adams said, basically his promo was, the reason I came to Dallas was to get the Mongol. Okay, if I ever go to Dallas to get someone...
Especially the Mongol.
I was trying to think of a way to put it that would not be tasteless, and all I could come up with is, put me out to pasture.
Indeed. Yeah, I like that Adams was touching on various subjects, and they talked about the America's title, which had been held by Kevin Von Erich and had just been lost to Jimmy Garvin. Adams says, well, I hate that Kevin lost the America's title, but on the other hand, it means I have a chance to win it now. So it was just assumed that all the babyfaces were friends, and all the heels were friends, and a babyface wouldn't think to challenge another babyface for a title.
Of course not.
Because it's just the way things were done. That sort of thing was not done back in the day. So that made me happy. And other than that, really, he called out the Mongol. He called out Jimmy Garvin, who he said he hated, and probably 3 or 4 other guys in the process. And then the show ended.
And then we had Kevin and Hayes talking about various things. And the best part was when Kevin is talking about how great Chris Adams was at judo. And he said he would always have him in the corner, and he liked to grab the guys in the corner and pound on them repeatedly, at which point Hayes said, he's a good guy.
Yes.
And Kevin said, well, you punch this guy too. So anyway, he's explaining it, and he said every time I had Chris in the corner, he would just shift his weight, and I would fall on my ass. And then he said, and I quote, I mean, that judo was something I never quite figured out. And he said it in such a way that I thought, I will bet at some point in Kevin Von Erich's life, he spent at least 30 seconds trying to figure out this judo thing. But that's it. That's all the time he spent on it. But in that 30 seconds, he couldn't figure this judo thing out.
Regardless, it is certainly still a mystery to this day.
It is still a mystery, this judo thing.
He has still not figured out this judo thing.
I just pictured Kevin, like, getting into his pickup truck one day and just thinking, he just moved and I fell on my ass. Judo. So anyway.
All I know is they started making...
That was the entire conversation in his head.
They started making jokes, and I don't even know how they got on the subject, but they started talking about... he was talking about Adams. Michael is talking about Chris Adams, says he would never back away from a fight or a party, but then none of us did. We didn't just say no, we just said yes. Thank God the 80s are over. And they made a few more jokes, and I thought, you guys are very casually discussing the fact that all your friends are dead and in the ground. You're very comfortable with all this. And then they finally say goodbye.
Well, time heals all wounds,
Time heals all wounds, I guess. And they're walking off the set, and you just hear Kevin mumble, you pile drive my baby brother. He's still bitter.
Well, he did.
He did. I saw it.
To say that Jerry Lawler is the son of a jackass. He's a lover of chickens. He has a one-track mind the same way a hog does at supper time or slop time.
And I mean from the bottom of my ass.
Pretty good, pretty good.
That's definitely a thumbs up.
That's from Jesse Pratt again. I will give a little bit of advice to Jesse, and that is that it helps to levelate your songs. That one, Terry Funk was a little bit quiet, and we prefer if everybody were... We prefer if the volume was equal throughout the song. Our friend Anchor, we've not heard from in a while, wants us to play this version of Inspector Collie. He says it's better. So let's see.
Collie! Go! Collie! Collie!
Next time.
Iron Sheik, Anchor.
Way to go.
This guy. Anchor, everybody.
If I had...
Let's not be mean.
If I had millions of dollars, I would do a documentary on our subscribers.
All of them or just Anchor?
Maybe all of them. Maybe all of them. But I don't have $1 million, so don't worry about it. But wouldn't you watch that if I gave a 10-minute bio on the most interesting people who subscribe?
It's called The Board. So, no.
Fine.
Hello? I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello? I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello? I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello? I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello? 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 Hello?
Granny, you're on the air.
Uh-oh, just a minute, gotta shut you off.
Shut us off?
Well,
I'm listening to you and that Australian guy or whatever.
That Australian guy or whatever, yes.
I couldn't understand a word he said.
Well.
Anyway.
Probably Australian.
You're a little early. I'm not quite ready for you yet.
Oh, what do you have to do in the next 12 minutes?
Well, I was taping a show. My brother's going to Scotland, and he wanted me to tape a golf show that's over there tomorrow. So I was.
He's going to Scotland?
Yeah.
God, he won't be able to understand anybody either.
Well, he has to switch quite a few flights, so he's kind of concerned about that because of the language difference. And
the language difference, yeah. Probably better than them Irish, though.
Yeah, well, he's going to go to Paris, and then from there.
What a trip this is.
Yeah, he's going to be gone 10 days. He's going to a golf tournament.
A golf tournament?
A golf tournament.
Is he in the golf tournament, or is he just going to it, like Craig goes to Pearl Jam?
No. He's going to be in it, but he was.
Oh, there's that.
He was back in Atlanta last week and watched Tiger Woods.
Really?
Is he as good as Tiger Woods?
Huh?
Is he as good as Tiger Woods?
Are you kidding? No.
Is he as cool as Light and Hopkins?
Who?
Oh, my God. Let's talk about Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, anyway, I want to tell you about my day.
Okay, then.
I decided to take the day off and go up to the casino. I wanted to go to Walmart anyway, so I got in there, and I'm not kidding, I lost my money so fast.
Oh, no.
Well, thank God you went to Walmart and saved a little.
Well, yeah, because I went to Walmart, and then guess who? I was going through the grocery line, and I got the phone call, and Mickie and Val were there.
At the Walmart with you?
At the same time, but we didn't know we were there, each other.
A small world this is, Granny, a small world.
Which Walmart was this then?
The one way the hell out in Marysville.
Yeah.
So you just all decided randomly, let's go to Walmart a half hour away.
Yeah.
Passing at least one, and I think two closer.
Well, the Walmart out there is one of those that has tons of food.
Yeah, well, they said they tried to call me, and I didn't, but my phone didn't ring, so I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway, also glad to hear that Buddy's doing well.
He is doing very well. They can't keep him down.
It goes to show that prayers work.
That's true. That's true. Or he's just completely insane.
Yeah. Anyway, Dancing with the Stars you wanted to hear about.
Granny, you know they opened a new Fred Meyer, like, right by my house?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fred Meyer?
Fred Meyer, right, like a minute away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there?
I have. It's nice.
Yeah, Fred Meyer's has got good prices.
And I think every Saturday they've got free food. Like, they've got free hot dogs and soda pop day coming up.
Wow.
I think this is coming Saturday, actually.
That's a party.
Hell yeah, it is. You should think about coming by one time, Granny.
Oh.
Not to my house, of course, just to Fred Meyer.
Not to your house, huh?
There's really no room for you here anyway.
There really isn't.
I have been to your house twice since you've lived there.
Well, it's too big for the two of us.
Oh.
Wait.
If you say so.
Anyway, let's talk about Dancing with the Stars.
Okay. The two front runners with 27 points are Debbie Mazar and the Backstreet Boy
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck, he had only 16 last week, but he got 19 this week, so he's doing better.
That's just the first dance, though, because last week he actually had 22 points total.
Well, we don't count that.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
so he did better. His Chuck is improved.
Yes, he has improved. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelly, my favorite, she missed a few steps, so she got, but she still got 19 points. So
still good, yes.
And the politician, I laughed so hard, he almost dropped his partner.
How wonderful.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be in there. I hope he goes next week. He's still there for the next week.
Absurd.
And but that Kathy Ireland, she's the one that got kicked out. She's was one of the oldest women. She was 46.
Kathy Ireland, wasn't she a Sports Illustrated model?
Indeed, she was when we were in junior high.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
And Donnie
46
Osmond,
now? My God, we've aged.
Yeah, Donnie Osmond, he came in third. He'll be there for a while. Everybody likes him, except me.
Except you, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and then Louis Vito only got 19 points. That was my favorite. And Michael Irwin, or how do you pronounce that?
Irwin. Irwin's traditional.
Last week he only got 13 points. This week he got 20, so he's
oh, wow, so he's improving.
Yeah, he's improving a lot.
Now, was Chuck, I mean, give us more details about Chuck. That's really the only person we care about.
Well, the thing I recognized about him, he had tattoos on the side of his head.
That's the one.
And has he always had those? I thought I just noticed.
Well, he was not born with them.
Yeah.
But he's had them for many years.
Born with them.
He said always.
I never noticed them till last week, and then his partner had one too, but it's probably one of those fake ones.
Well, maybe he was born with them. How do you know it wasn't a birthmark?
Oh, come on.
I wasn't there.
All right.
I can't confirm or deny.
I just want facts on this show, not pure speculation.
Oh, well, I didn't notice them last week, but kind of weird.
Maybe they're licking stick tattoos.
Could be. They have all kinds. You can peel them off and...
Sure.
Slap them on your head.
I can see Chuck doing that sort of thing. Say maybe some henna tattoos.
Didn't I hear where he just had a fight recently or something?
He's a fighter, but he didn't have one recently.
Oh, I thought he did.
He's been retired for a while.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah, he retired this year. He can only be hit in the head so many times, Granny. The guy's 40 years old almost.
Oh, yes.
He's kept himself in shape. Yeah.
He's not the best-looking guy in the world.
Well,
he's not a model.
Yeah, he's not a model. That's true. Now, Granny, do you have any mailbag questions this week or any predictions for next week's show?
All I need for next week is for that politician to be gone.
Okay. Now, do you expect that, or is that just what you would wish?
I wish.
Who do you think is going next?
I would say him.
You'd say the politician?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't he hurt his arm?
No, his foot.
His foot, that's right.
Yeah, he had a bad foot, and that's why he almost dropped her.
Put it in his mouth?
That was a good one.
I know. All right. So, do we have any Q&As here, Greg?
Go ahead.
What?
Have any Q&As?
I didn't hear that.
Questions and answers.
Oh, okay. Speak up.
Thought I was screaming into the mic, but...
Okay. I have one that they want to know if I can make ends meet.
No, she's in the poorhouse right now.
No, I'm doing great. I made smart investments, and I have additional income, so...
That's right, and I pay you.
I just do fine.
Yes, she does.
They want to know if I have a tax advisor. If I did have it, be your mom, but I don't need one because I don't even pay taxes.
It's a wonderful thing to say on the air.
That Granny, always joking.
Hey, I got a letter from the IRS that says you don't have to do taxes anymore because I don't make enough money.
Wow, how nice of them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm paying far more now for you.
Well, you're filling your pockets a lot more than mine.
Well,
that is true.
Well, I guess a little bit.
Oh, and they wanted to know if I'm struggling with prescription drugs.
Did we ask that one last week?
I just think it's a very funny, very casual question. Dear Granny, are you a pill popper?
Well,
they just want to know if I can afford them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And can you?
I'm just saying I don't take any.
You don't take any?
Nope.
Well, what do you do with them when you're not taking them? I'm full of zingers tonight.
That's very funny.
Okay. Now, Granny, you did ask that question. I could have sworn last week, so maybe...
Well, it was probably a different way.
Last
week they probably asked me if I'd ever taken drugs.
I see. I don't think they did. What's the answer?
I never have. Well, I used to take Valium, but...
Valium and gin?
Yep, that's right. You remembered that one.
We need to make a Granny T-shirt that says Valium and gin.
With a thumbs up.
Yeah, and smiling Granny.
Yeah.
Well, another thing, he wanted to know if I took any towels from MGM.
Granny, we've asked these questions before. Maybe you should be taking some prescription pills.
Well, maybe I didn't circle those last week.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's see. How about Bryan's Halloween?
How about Bryan's Halloween?
How about my Halloween?
Yeah, what you did when you were a kid.
I made my own costumes out of paper mache.
Well, you know what? I wasn't around you that much on Halloween. I don't remember anything about that. All I remember is that little dinosaur outfit you had that had the tail on it, and you wore it everywhere.
When I was 5?
And you didn't care what people thought.
I was 5.
I know, it was cute.
Thanks, Granny. Yes, I made my own costumes out of paper mache.
And that tail was cute.
And the tail was cute. All right, let's do one more here, Granny.
Somebody wanted to know if I ever go to Raw or SmackDown when it's here. Which, no, but I go to Tulalip because Sylvia likes it.
Well, Granny, get ready because the next Tulalip show is, I believe, on October 10th? 9th or 10th? I'm not sure, but it's coming up next week.
Well, Sylvia won't be able to go because she's at Long Beach.
We don't need her. Now, we want you there.
Oh, I don't know. I can't drive up there.
Vinny will pick you up.
I'm out of town that weekend.
Oh.
Aha!
Oh, come on. All right, we'll see if we can...
at you.
Are you going to be there, Bryan?
Yes, I am. I got a bunch of friends that are going, too.
Well, you should come and pick me up.
We'll see what happens.
You should go get your grandmother.
We'll see what happens. I'll see what I can do, Granny.
Okay. Did I say anything about your hairstyle? I think I did that, too, huh?
No. I mean, yeah.
Not today.
They asked me which hairstyle I didn't like of yours, and that was the latest one with the ponytail.
Oh, gosh, Granny. Yes, we definitely talked about this one last week. Okay, do one more.
Oh, what I think of the Hogan family.
Oh, this...
No.
I think they're a bunch of idiots, and the kid should be in jail.
Wow.
All right, then.
The boy, I presume.
Yes.
And both of them. What the hell?
You know anything about the girl?
No, but because I can't get her mixed up with Kelly, you know, because they're from kind of a famous drug family and everything, so...
Kelly Osbourne?
Yeah, I was looking up her. I didn't realize that, but she's been addicted to drugs a lot.
No. Kelly Osbourne?
Not Ozzy Osbourne's daughter.
Come on, Granny.
I read it on the thing. She went in rehab 2 or 3 times.
You got to be making this up.
It was balderdash.
Wow. And they both come from famous drug families, you say?
You're rubbish.
Well, you know, kind of.
Kind of? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. One more.
Okay, I don't have any more.
That last one was so good, I wanted another one.
They wanted to know if I ever watched Reefer Madness. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
Never heard of it.
After Tulalip, Granny, you'll sit down and watch that movie.
Oh, one thing I want to mention, too. You know how I hate David Letterman?
David Letterman, yes.
They just had a story on the computer tonight about all the affairs he's had and how people are trying to get money out of him.
Yeah, they tried to extort him, in fact.
Yeah, so he confessed the whole thing so he wouldn't have to pay anything.
Well, there you go.
Well, they wanted $2 million.
We'll see if this leads to a divorce, how much he loses then.
Sure.
I mean, there may be... maybe you should have done a more careful
cost-benefit
analysis.
This could have been 25 years ago.
I suppose that's true.
The man's 60 now, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and I can't imagine anybody wanting to sleep with him.
Ridiculous.
Can't stand him.
Can't stand him. Now, have you been watching Jay Leno and his new show?
Yeah, I like his new show.
Do you like his hair? He grew his hair out longer. And
it's looked better.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot thicker for some reason.
It's shaggier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to look younger.
It's failing. If he's trying to look younger, leaving it white was a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's true.
He just looks silly.
I have watched headlines every Monday, but that's about it, Granny.
And also that Cannon that took over for him, he fell on his head or something.
Yeah, Cannon O'Brien fell on his head. Yeah.
Funny. Anyway, let me know about Marysville, and that's all I got for tonight.
All right, Granny. Well, next week we'll talk to you again.
Okay.
All right.
All righty.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Show us Pete. How do we follow that?
Cannon fell on his head.
How do we follow a woman laughing at cannon falling on his head?
Oh, boy.
Are you snorting into the microphone?
Oh.
Cannon.
That cannon that took over for him. He fell on his head. Hi.
Well, hell.
Cannon. Like the printer cartridge. Or the printer. I don't know. I ruined the joke. Granny?
Yeah?
It's time for your weekly appearance on the program here.
How about that?
That's right. What are you doing?
I just now shut you and Dave and what's the other guy's name?
Oh, he's going to be so sad. Lance?
Lance. I was just listening to you guys with your three-way thing.
All right. I see. So, let's talk about Dancing with the Stars before this show gets derailed in the first 4 minutes.
Okay.
I was mentioning before you came on the show that, like, I have no idea what happened with Chuck Liddell. Like, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything in the news. I didn't see anything mentioned anywhere. I'm, like, completely in the dark about how Chuck Liddell did this week. Is he still on the show?
Oh, here he is. Can I say something else first, though?
If you must.
We had another death in the family.
I'm glad you're telling me this on the air.
Your grandpa's brother, you said you never didn't remember your grandpa, but it was his brother that passed away in California.
I remember Larkin.
You said you didn't remember him. You were 12 when he passed away.
When did I say I didn't remember him? I have vivid memories of Grandpa.
You always told me you didn't remember him, Nick. You said the same thing.
I think you're thinking of Nick. I definitely remember Grandpa.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. So, what was his brother's name? I never met his brother, did I?
No, his name was Fred. And he was a year older than I am. And you know, the old saying that says it goes in threes?
No, I've never heard that.
You have it?
So who do you expect to go next? What are you saying?
I'm just saying.
Well, who was number one?
Well, number one was my sister's husband.
How long ago? Oh, this was like a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Oh, see, and it goes in threes, so...
Anyway,
let's get to Dancing with the Stars.
Of course.
Before I start feeling sick.
Good idea, Granny.
Okay.
Well, maybe number 3 will be the elimination of Chuck Liddell.
Well, you know, he's not doing too bad. He had a score of 17.
Oh, wow.
And the second night, the judges, they asked the judges who they would like to have come back and do the dance that they did the night before. And believe it or not, they picked him and his partner.
So they wanted them to come back and just do the same dance again?
That they did the night before.
Now, is that because they liked it, or they thought, my God, what a horrible dance?
That was their choice for the best dance.
Hmm.
So that was pretty good for him.
How about that?
Yeah. And the politician had to drop out. His feet gave out. Ha-ha.
His feet gave out.
Ha-ha, she says.
How did his feet give out? What happened?
Well, he had some kind, I don't know what it was, but the doctor...
Corns? What do they call them?
No, it wasn't corns. It was something, I don't know, some little fractures or something.
So after all these weeks, your wish finally came true and they got rid of the politician.
They sure did.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and one of the, I was pretty surprised too, because I thought that Michael, what's his name, Irvine or something, I thought he was going to get, because he had very low scores, but they picked actress Debbie Mazar or whatever her name is. She got kicked off.
Big stars in this show.
Oh, Debbie Mazar, yeah.
And Michael Irvine.
Well, another thing too, this week, I mean,
was Michael Irwin. Wasn't he the crocodile hunter?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
Irvine, Michael, he was the football player.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, where was I?
I don't know.
The scores this week, last week, some of them that were on the top were way down. It was just a weird week because they were all dancing so bad. And Kelly, she has got no confidence, and it's really bad because she's just having a terrible time.
Maybe she's on drugs.
I don't know.
Vince, what are you doing over there, by the way?
Surfing the web. I'll stop.
Stop that. You usually offer backup here on the show, and God knows I need it. I just hear this clicking away over there.
I just closed the program.
Once you showed up with your laptop.
Oh, you're getting bored with me, huh, Vince?
He's been bored since moment one on this show today.
I have been bored actually since I walked in the door of this house, so it's not your fault.
Yes.
Oh, what's the matter? What's your problem?
I have better things to do than watch pro wrestling these days.
Oh, sounds interesting.
So fill us in, Vinny.
Yeah.
Almost anything.
Give us a...
Crossword puzzles?
Give us up to date.
Yeah, keep us up to date.
Okay. If you all go to... it's either Basketball Prospectus or ProBasketballProspectus.com, but for the past, 2 weeks, I've been working about 10 hours a day on finishing this book. And you can all go buy it. It's about basketball.
Wow, so you're going to be rich, huh?
No.
No.
I'm going to be compensated.
Wait a second, so now you're doing basketball? Have you ever even watched basketball?
I'm doing editing.
I see.
I will edit anything. Any book anyone wants to write. If you want to publish it, you can publish it yourself. You send me the text. I will make it look all pretty in book form.
Interesting.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You're going into something like that. That might work out for you.
Is what I was doing for the past 8.5 years. And now I found other people who want me to do it.
How about that? Through this website, I might add.
Indirectly.
Yeah, so give it your all
Not
here.
really.
All right. Bill Barnwell? That's indirectly?
Huh?
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Granny, go ahead. Where were we on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, let's see. I think I was done with them.
I'm sorry we completely ruined your segment this week, Granny.
Well, I told you everything that was,
So who do you expect to get booted last week? You predicted the politician last week, and you were correct.
Yeah.
Although he got booted due to his own foot problems.
Well, it's really kind of hard to tell because they just go up and down so much. I mean, the ones that did real well last week didn't do well this week, and the ones that did bad last week did better this week. So it's kind of hard to predict. But my favorite little guy was a skateboarder. He's kind of right there in the middle.
The skateboarder.
There really isn't any favorite, let's put it that way.
Vinny, who do you expect to be eliminated?
Well, I would...
The skateboarder.
Well, like I say, I can't hardly tell because they're all so up and down.
Very erratic scoring, then.
Granny, are you surfing the web here, or what's going on?
Do I what?
Are you surfing the web right now?
No.
Okay, just checking. I thought I asked Vince a question and you just answered for him, so I was trying to find out who on the show actually is paying attention tonight.
Why would they? Because
it appears to be only me.
Okay. Anyway.
Let's do some questions here, Granny. This is something that we can't fail on.
Okay, I had one. They asked me why I didn't like Danny Osmond. Well, here's an example.
I can't stand Danny Osmond.
Johnny Osmond.
Oh.
Anyway, on the show, on Dancing with the Stars, after they got through, one of the judges said something, and he went over and leaned over him like he was going to kiss him and was hugging him and stuff, and it was so stupid.
Okay. Huh.
So, so they're just big show-offs. That's why I don't like them.
They're affectionate. Too affectionate for you.
And they've been around, affectionate with other, opposite sex.
Sure. I see what you mean, Granny.
Oh, am I going to get a bunch of knocks again?
I actually don't even know what you're talking about, so I think you're okay.
She didn't want to see the homosexual relations between the two males.
Stop that.
Sorry.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay. I did, sorry.
Don't get me in trouble.
What's next, Granny?
Okay.
Well, that seemed to be what you were indicating, but...
They want to know if there's anything crazy and wild I want to do before I die. I can't really think of anything, but I do like those air balloon things. I wouldn't mind riding in one of those.
Yeah, they fly those right out of Woodinville.
So let me get this straight. You want to go up in a helicopter and in a hot air balloon?
Right.
Maybe a twin-engine Cessna?
No, not one of those.
Oh, that's too dangerous. I see.
How about hang gliding?
No, and there's so many people that jump out of planes when they get up there, and that's not one of my things.
You don't want to go skydiving, you're saying?
No.
Okay.
What about whitewater rafting?
Oh, I hate water.
Yeah, well, it runs in the family.
All right.
It does run in the family, that's true. All right, Granny, what's next?
Okay, and they wanted to know why women say they are independent. When something goes wrong, they always have a man do it for them.
Well, when their decks break, that's clearly not true, is it?
Exactly. What a sexist question that was, Granny. Don't even dignify that one with an answer.
Well, I've never been able to depend on a man anyway. I've had to do all my stuff myself. So.
There you go.
That's true. Now, Granny, are you telling me that if on your birthday, for example, I got you the gift of a trip up in a hot air balloon, you wouldn't chicken out at the last second?
I probably would.
Okay, because I would too. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
I just said I like them. I probably would not get in one.
I laughed so hard at that I hurt my neck.
So maybe if, for example, the two of us just went and looked at hot air balloons for your birthday, that would suffice before your death.
That would be nice.
Okay, all right. I think we can handle that one.
Okay, let's see what
Now, what about, wait, Granny, what about next year when we go to Vegas? Would you go up the stratosphere?
Oh, heck, I've been up there.
Where it shoots you into the air at 2,000 miles an hour or whatever?
Oh, not those things, but I've been up just up at the...
So you wouldn't want to do this, for example?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, because we could set it up, Granny.
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm just checking to see what you would like to do and what you would not.
Oh.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, and I have something to tell you about Sylvia, too. She's been having lots of problems. She went to Long Beach for the weekend, and she came back, and she had a bunch of leaks. Her hot tub is leaking, and she's got leaks outside.
I mean, she was leaking.
And her kids won't come and help her, and she doesn't have a bit of money. She goes from week to week on her paychecks or whatever, her monthly checks. I felt so sorry for her.
It's very sad.
So it's possible that she might not be able to go.
Well, I mean, we can get her in free, Granny.
Not on her plane, you can't.
Oh, I think you're talking about to Tulalip.
Oh, no, I haven't asked her about that one yet.
No, you should.
Well, I'm going to see her. Is that Saturday?
That's this Saturday, yes.
Yeah, we're going to be at bingo, so we get off at 3 o'clock, so.
So she's having money problems, but she's still going to bingo.
Well, it's only $3.
Okay. So it's not hardcore gambling, this bingo.
Yeah, well, and I decided if she wants to go up to Marysville, I'll pay for her way in for gas if she drives. So.
Oh, that's very good. That's very nice, Granny. We'll get her to the show free.
You will?
Yeah, of course. We get you into the show free every time,
Bryan
Granny.
knows people.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh,
yes.
my goodness, that'll be just nice.
I mean, you're welcome to pay. Don't get me wrong, but...
Oh, I forgot, because I forgot that when you're there, I get in free. That's great.
At least I'm your hookup, Granny. What's next?
Let's see. Somebody said something about you were supposed to set up a mail bag for me or something, and I don't think I want to do that.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about anyway.
Another question I had, this Roethlisberger,
Yeah?
what, is he a fighter or a wrestler, or what is he?
He's a football player.
He's a meal at Red Robin.
Well, the reason I asked was because Terry, your Uncle Terry, he went to school with a boy that name, and, since it's such an unusual name, I was just wondering if it was some, down the line.
Did he go to school in Ohio?
Did he go to Tyee High?
Yeah.
No, did Roethlisberger.
I don't think so. I don't know where he went to high school. He went to college in Ohio.
I would guess it's a different Roethlisberger. And
well,
actually,
it could still be related, though. I mean, even if they weren't, living around here.
Well, genetically, we're all related, Granny, but...
But that's such an unusual last name.
I've only known the one guy.
Yeah. All right, let's do two more, Granny. We got a lot of shows to do here today.
One of them was, they wanted to know if I have my own pool cue. I sure do.
Really?
Yes, she does. I do too, actually.
You did. You had one, and Nikki had one.
Yeah.
I got them both for you, and then you lost interest way before she did.
I broke it over someone's head during an angle.
No, you didn't.
I know.
You should have.
I should have, actually. That's a good
anyway,
point.
do you remember the times we went up to the clubhouse to play pool?
Oh, yeah, I remember. I had a pool cue that you had to screw it together.
No, that was mine.
Oh, then I beat everybody just like a drum.
Oh, yes, you did. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, then.
Wow.
I remember, too, when Nikki brought Tony a couple of times, and he was so quiet, it just made me so nervous.
I am baffled that Tony showed up even a single time.
Well, he did, though.
So you're telling me at one point in his life he was more social than he is now?
No, I said he was unsociable then, too.
Yeah, but at least he showed up.
Well, that's true, but it made me nervous because he didn't talk or nothing.
He thought he might snap and start opening fire?
No.
He did have long hair.
Another thing, you want to, you remember how you always like my old sayings, like I'm in the wrong pew?
Sure, yeah.
My last one for the night is, this one it says, get off the table, Mabel, that quarter's for the beer.
You used to say that all the time.
Say that one more time, please.
Get off the table, Mabel, that quarter is for the beer.
Now, when would you say this? When would this saying come in handy?
Well, do you get what it means?
No. I'm trying to figure out.
Bryan, explain it to him.
Get the quarter off the table, Mabel. The quarter's for the beer. Get off the table.
It says, get off the table, Mabel. That quarter is for the beer.
So
stop getting on the table, Vince.
But I'm not Mabel.
Doesn't matter.
You guys, you don't get it?
No. I won't even pretend to get this one.
Is this like going to the well one too many times? Herding cats?
She thought the quarter was for her to put out.
Oh,
jeez.
Don't you get it?
See.
Where did this come from? Who asked this question so I can ban them?
This is my own idea. I thought it was cute, but you guys don't get it.
Well,
we get it now, unfortunately.
Hey, let me say this, Granny. In 2009, a quarter does not get you what it used to.
Well, that's why I said.
Depends on Mabel, actually.
That's true. It can still happen.
Oh, my God. Maybe every week, Granny, you need to have another old saying to finish off the show.
Well, after this one, I don't think I want to, because you don't get it.
Well, maybe you could quiz us every week, and we could try to figure out what the hell these things mean.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. All right, Granny. Well, a fine appearance as always from you today.
Well, sometimes I think you guys are just making fun of me.
Who? Are you kidding me? Granny, we got enough to make fun of without having to make fun of you.
Okay.
You want me to play the Iron Sheik here?
Oh, I hate that song.
It's not a song.
It's a number of songs. You just hate the Iron Sheik in general?
No, I hate that song with him where he just says the...
I know.
He has a potty mouth sometimes.
Yeah.
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 Let me tell you something.
He's here in studio, Granny.
No, I don't want to hear him.
All right, we're going to let you go here, Granny. Next week, we want another update on Chuck.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Get off the table, Mabel. The quarter is for the beer.
Don't you get it?
I do now.
How clear could that be?
To be honest, I never actually thought about what that might mean. I always heard it. I just thought it meant get off the table. You know, when you climb on the table when you're a youngster.
You know, I don't think I ever climbed on a table in my life.
Well, you were huge. You were enormous.
There were tables to be protected, yes.
When I was small, I mean, for example, if we were all eating somewhere and there was 4 of us in a booth and I had to get out, I'd just climb under the table to get out. But, for example, if I tried to go over the table, then Granny would say, get off the table, Mabel. The quarter's for the beer. We're going to have to bring that one back.
No. I still love you to answer this question. When would you need to say that?
Well, when somebody is on the table in an inappropriate manner.
I suppose so.
I don't know when that would be. But whenever the manner is inappropriate to be on a table, then that saying, what would be a better saying when you're inappropriately on a table?
When Mabel is being a bit of a floozy.
Granny, what's happening?
The latest you've ever called.
Sorry, I couldn't figure out which one I needed to turn up here, so we didn't hear you for a second there. What did you say?
I said this is the latest you have called me.
Are you in bed right now?
No.
Granny, you realize we normally call you 13 minutes ago?
You did?
It's only 12:13.
I know, but you usually not this late.
We usually called about 12:05.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry we called 7 minutes late.
Okay. In fact, I was looking on my email to see if you emailed me to tell me you weren't going to call at all.
No, we just called 7 minutes late.
Okay.
Well, tell us about the failure of Chuck Liddell, the epic fail.
Well, I heard you talking on all your shows about it, so I guess there isn't too much I can say.
No, there's plenty to say. I just knew that he failed, and I don't know any of the details.
Well, I mean, he just got ticked off.
How many points did he get on his last week?
I think he only got 17.
Oh. Yeah, it just wasn't going to happen, huh?
No, he just, well, I guess he didn't have enough people voting for him because that football player, Michael Irvine or whatever his name is, he only got 14, but he got to stay.
Too many people busy voting in the World Mixed Martial Arts Awards, or whatever these wacky things are called, which I was not nominated for.
Oh.
Clearly they didn't hear my interview with Don Fry earlier this year.
No, I don't think so.
Thanks, Granny. So anyway, he's off.
I didn't know about it, so you should have told me.
Okay. So, Granny, he's off the show, and that leaves only a few fools left. Is there anybody else that we should possibly care about, or are the days of reporting on Dancing with the Stars over?
Well, I think they're probably over because the rest of them are just... Kelly, she got 20, and she's about the only one that I'm really interested in. The rest of them I don't really care about. In fact, the whole show kind of...
Sucks.
Yeah, it's not really what I call dancing.
Yeah. Now, is 20 the highest score you can get?
Huh?
Is
oh,
20...
no, 30.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Makes...
Maya got 27, so she was high.
So a 17 would, in fact, be an F.
Yeah, Chuck's 16 is very poor then.
Yeah,
it's very poor.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to watch that show anymore, Granny. Were people sad to see Chuck go?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I understand he's going to be in some kind of comedy or something.
I just heard that he had signed for something. I forget the details. I saw a mention of it here somewhere.
Well, they had his kids on there, too, and that was kind of cute.
I can just imagine Chuck Liddell starring in a comedy. The laughs to be had.
Yeah, but like I said, they brought his kids in, and they were cute.
Some cute little buggers?
Yeah.
About that. All right, Granny. Well, I guess with Dancing with the Stars out of the way now, I guess forever, at least until the next season, when we probably will have somebody from MMA or pro wrestling involved, since we always do have some sort of tie-in. Let's do some of your Q&As here. Do you have a bunch of them this week?
Well, I'll have a couple of other things to talk about.
I don't know why I ever start the Q&As before asking if you have anything else to talk about.
Good, because I feel so sorry for Brent.
I knew this would come up.
I really do. I feel sorry for him. You know, even if he's a little bit weird. I mean, for that airline to lose his luggage and stuff, I don't blame him for getting upset.
Yeah, well... It's a sad tale, I have to admit. I did not know what to expect. I just got an email from him, a short, curt email saying, hey, give me a call, I'm incarcerated again. And I thought, okay, well, I'll give you a call. And so I heard the whole thing live on the air along with everybody else, and it was a sad tale of woe.
Well, and it's not here either, is it? He's somewhere else, isn't he?
He is somewhere else, in fact. Minnesota, I believe. Minneapolis.
Well, how come his parents aren't helping him?
I don't know, Granny.
I think they kind of give up on him or something.
I don't want to speculate.
Okay. Anyway, another thing. I don't know if you remember me talking about how I'd like to have electric fireplace.
I don't remember you telling me you wanted an electric fireplace.
Well, anyway, this morning, Nikki and I went up to Lowe's. I had a coupon for $25 off on some stuff, so we went up there and I bought an electric fireplace.
Really?
And then on the way home, I stopped at a garage sale, and guess what?
You found an electric log.
No, I found another electric fireplace.
So did you buy it too?
Yeah.
So you have two now?
Well, I was going to take the new one back, but your mom and Nikki talked me out of it. They said, oh, why don't you keep both of them? So now I have one in my family room and one in my living room.
So essentially you bought two heaters.
Yeah, they look like fireplaces.
Okay, I'm just making sure what we've got here. Okay. Well, that's interesting, Granny. You'll be warm during the winter.
Oh, it's nice and warm in here right now. It really throws out a lot of heat.
I'll bet it does. I remember back in the old days, Granny, when I spent the night at my house and you're at your house and how hot it was. And
well, my house is usually cold. In fact, Nick...
Exactly. I was being very sarcastic. I used to always have to go turn the heat up as high as it would go. I would sneak over there, and then you guys would go over and just turn it back off again.
Well, and Nikki said this is the first time she's been at my house that she wasn't cold.
Well, you're not one for heat.
No, I just don't like it. Don't like it to be hot.
No.
In fact, it was very mild.
This is
out
in the
today.
winter, everybody.
Winters aren't that bad, but
no, of course not. Especially this past winter when we had 18 feet of snow.
I know.
Yeah.
I was in the house for a whole month without leaving.
Yeah. All right, let's do this Q&A.
Anyway, this kid from Ireland, his name is Niall. He's 16 years old, and it was so cute because he asked me. He said, "What do you think of today's youth?" You know, and I'm thinking, I don't know what people are like in Ireland, but the kids here are so spoiled that when they start getting into reality, they're going to have a big problem. But he sounded like such a nice young man.
Niall, yeah.
And he said, for me not to die till he gets old enough to come in to see me.
How friendly of him.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a replacement for his grandma.
That really tickled her.
It did. There's nothing more sweet than someone telling you, don't die till I get a chance to see you.
Well, especially when it's a teenager. You know, most teenagers, they could care less for older persons.
Is that so, Granny?
Yeah.
Granny's stuck in a time warp. Kids today are much cooler, Granny. They're much nicer than they were back in a different generation.
I don't think so.
They are. Every generation has different teenagers, and this generation's teenagers are pretty cool.
If you say so.
What proof do you have other than Niall? He's a good kid.
Well, I mean, he's from another country.
Oh, I see. So it's these American youths.
Yeah.
I see. Well, just start deporting them.
Okay. Huh?
What's next on the list?
Okay, what's that girl that's on there? I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Pingu girl?
Yeah.
Also Irish?
No.
Yeah, she is.
She is?
Yeah.
She wanted to know what my first and last album that I ever bought, and I think it was Jim Reeves and Ray Price and Elvis.
No. Did they have albums? I mean, when was the first album that you purchased?
I'm talking about records. That's the same as an album, isn't it?
Yes. So the first record you purchased was what?
Jim Reeves and Ray Price.
What the hell is that, Granny?
Jim Reeves.
They're two. I think they're Western, mostly Western.
Didn't he play Superman?
No.
Okay.
That was Christopher Reeve.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, boy,
what did they have before records, Granny? I mean, did you have? I mean, did they have like clay, for example, that you spun around on a needle?
Oh, right. I mean, way back when I was 15, they had records back then because I remember we had a record player that you had to wind it up.
Really?
Yeah, you know, since you didn't have electric, you just wound it up and it played music.
Now, when you had a wind-up car, did it also have a wind-up radio?
No.
That would have been too high-end.
You had a battery.
I thought you said you had a car that you had to wind up.
No, I said a record player.
Granny, what was the first car you ever had?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how you started it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the car with the wind-up thing didn't have a wind-up radio?
You lost me.
Vince, help me out here.
I refuse. Let's just move on.
Granny, you had a car. It had a crank on it.
Right.
Okay. Did the car with a crank have another crank that operated the radio, much like your wind-up phonograph player?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right.
Oh, God, that's way out there.
Oh, yeah, absurd.
Yeah, really.
Absurd. Okay. All right.
And she wanted to know if you and I ever had an imaginary friend.
If you and I?
Yeah, when you were
little. The two of us?
Ever had an imaginary friend?
I'm confused.
All the friends were imaginary.
I'm confused with the question. She's asking if you and I had an imaginary friend?
You know, when you were little, if we had one together.
I see. Well, did we?
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I just remember the thing I got in my car. I forgot what it was. What is that?
Ernie?
Huh?
Ernie?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Sesame Street.
Yeah, we did have an imaginary friend because you said you wanted to be Ernie.
Well, I wasn't an imaginary friend. I just wanted to be a Muppet. Some would say I achieved that goal.
Yeah, and you went. Everybody called you that for a long time too, didn't
My
they?
dad still does. I try to get him out of that habit.
Who does it now?
My dad.
He does?
Yeah, he still does every now and then.
Oh, and she also wanted to know if I have any Waterford crystal. I don't even know what it is, but I might own some because everything I buy is at garage sale, so there might be some Waterford crystal in there.
I'll bet you'd find some Waterford crystal at a garage sale.
I don't know if I got some or not.
Well, look around, Granny. What else do we got?
I don't know what it looks like or what it is.
Okay, maybe someone. Okay, what's next on the list?
Okay, and I wanted to know what my favorite solitaire game was. I had a game on my other computer called Golf Solitaire that I liked very well.
Golf Solitaire?
Yeah, but I can't get it on my new computer, so.
I very vaguely recall once playing this game, but I couldn't tell you how it worked. It involved cards.
In golf?
Well, I have another one that you play golf and solitaire at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Kind of different. If I could live in an era, which one would of history, which would I pick? I'd pick the Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s?
Yeah, because...
after you were born?
Well, because if I had a former life, I think I was one of the Gibson girls.
Really?
Yeah, because I liked to dance and that, and they had all those dancers.
I would prefer not to live in an era that was followed by a Great Depression. Just personally.
I thought it was the middle of the Great Depression.
The Roaring 20s?
Oh, I guess it wouldn't be roaring then, would it? No, 29 is when it started.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm done.
That's when all the gangsters were famous.
In the Roaring 20s?
Yeah.
And afterwards, yes.
Yeah, well, mostly in the 20s. So.
Sure.
And they want to know how much I've ever won in bingo. Well, since I go to the senior center, they don't pay very much. One day I had 2 blackouts and 1 bingo, and I won $45.
Granny had 2 blackouts at the senior center. That can't be good.
A blackout, all the numbers anyway.
When you fall down and sure.
Yeah, and then I won $500 in Keno one time.
Ooh, my God.
And I won $600 and some dollars at the track.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much did you have to invest to win this $1,100 in the course of your life of gambling?
Well, let's see, the $45, I spent $3. And the $500 one was, how much is Keno? I think.
I'm just talking in your life, how much do you think you spent on it? Have you broken even in your life of gambling, Granny, or are you in the hole?
I would say probably, since I was so conservative, it probably broke even.
That's pretty good, then. That's pretty good.
That's really great, actually.
Yeah. Vinny's not quite as lucky.
No, I can't say that I am.
I mean, he's had a lifetime of gambling failures.
The last weekend in Vegas, I did go 4-1 in the football games.
Wow.
So that worked out pretty good.
Brian, when you were in Vegas, did you gamble any at all?
Of course not. Never.
You never have?
Not a gambler, no.
How about you, Vince?
A little bit. I've done blackjack. I've done roulette. I did poker once. I was a miserable failure.
Oh, that poker is bad because, well, at least blackjack is because they use so many decks of cards. I don't play anymore because they use too many decks.
You mean you think they could be cheating?
No,
it's not cheating. It's just
too many cards.
I see.
Openly tilting the odds too strongly in their own favor.
I see.
That's right. That's very right.
I see. All right, let's do...
They also wanted to know about the kid up in...
the balloon?
No, not that one. They're really thinking that was a put-on one by the whole family.
You don't say.
Yeah.
A work.
Well, they want to know about the kid in Western Washington, the one that stole a couple of planes and he stole boats and...
Oh, yeah, this crazy dude. What's his name?
I can't remember, but, I can't believe the police haven't caught him. And now they are making... sweatshirts with his name on them, making a hero out of it.
Yeah, this kid's like 16 years old. He's stole airplanes. He's done a lot of petty thefts. They say he's a horrible criminal, but he's very good at evading arrest.
I just can't believe that they haven't caught him.
Well, you were just talking about how in the 20s gangsters were popular.
That's what this kid is. He's an outlaw, Grant.
Say what you will about this kid. He has not murdered anyone.
Yeah. He's a young Robin Hood.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I think the latest one, he did shoot a gun.
Oh, well, that's not cool.
Yeah, he was in the forest and he fired a shot in the air.
Well, that makes him a real criminal.
Because he fired a gun?
Yes.
He didn't fire it at anyone.
Well, who knows?
Bullets do come down.
I guess that's true. That's true. All right, Granny, let's do one more and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
And what do you think of this kid, by the way? You didn't answer the question. A hoodlum, a young hooligan? Is he one of these teens that's just trouble nowadays?
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, if you read any interviews with his mother, yes, he is definitely spoiled.
There's my example right there.
And what an example it is.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be Niall, Granny. You don't know.
Oh, no.
He hasn't been caught.
He's a good boy.
How do you know that, Granny? Because he wrote you a nice letter? This could all be a put-on.
He even said he loved me.
This could all be a put-on, Granny. Don't send him any money, okay?
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like a scam in the making.
Yeah, if he starts talking about how he's got some sort of injury or something like that, don't buy it yet.
No.
You need to do more you need more investigation in the young Niall here.
Hey, you're not helping me.
What do you mean?
If I think bad things of the teenagers now, you're trying to tear this little kid down.
This little kid. He's
Shame on
16, for Christ's sake. All right, Granny, let's do one more. I'm sure Niall's a fine young man. You just never know with kids these days. That's what you told me.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just being careful.
Mostly this country.
I see.
And I want to say, if anybody asks
Clearly, you've never been on our board. Go on.
Anybody asks me any wrestling questions, I can't answer because I don't know anything about.
Exactly. Neither do we. And we don't either.
Have so many different questions. One of them said, understand the appeal of Inspector Cayley's song. I don't get it.
Well, let's just do your last question.
That was it. Oh, they wanted to know what my prized possession was.
Me.
No, can't use a home or a family member.
Oh, see, they knew that one was coming.
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
I guess I'd have to say it was my car.
Your car.
My car.
After all that work on your porch, and you choose your car.
Well,
I hope that thing tips over. Not on top of you, of course. All right, Granny. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up today. You went for 22 minutes here, believe it or not.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
No, it's incredible sometimes.
Oh.
All right, well, next week you're going to have to find something new to talk about, Granny, and I'll make sure to ask you before we get talking.
Oh, okay, I'll find something.
All right, you do your homework, Granny.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, Granny.
Why would they ask her opinion on the Inspector Kaylee song?
Because I don't
thought
know.
that would be funny.
They thought it would be funny to have her ask the question, you see.
I see.
Yeah. Huh?
I'm here.
Huh? Huh? We're back here on the show, everybody.
Oh, you're early tonight.
Somebody jumped the gun there. I blame Vince. We are early. We got Impact over with, and now we're calling you to cheer up our day. We've been talking about our friend Brent, who's in the loony bin right now, as he stated. He's having a tough time. Did you ever meet Brent, Granny?
Oh, sure. I sat right next to him at that, when we had dinner down there at that casino.
That's right. That's right. A Super China buffet. I recall this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
Not well.
Is he still back there, or is he home now?
He's still back. He's locked up.
You're kidding.
No. Tough times. Granny, have you ever been to jail?
No, I've visited a few times.
You visited, you say?
Yeah.
Who did we know that was in jail?
I have a guess.
Well, let's see. I have a brother.
That wasn't it?
A brother that was in jail for some time.
Vince is presuming it was Wayne.
That was my guess, yes.
No. I said my brother, not my son.
Yeah,
I understand, but when you said you knew someone in prison, the first family member I thought of was Uncle Wayne.
Oh, well, it wasn't prison. It was just jail.
Was Wayne in jail at some point?
No, never.
Well, there's a difference, Vince. There's the county jail and there's the prison.
Well, your Uncle Terry was, though.
Terry went to jail?
Oh, yeah. He
Public drunkenness?
No, he had fake ID.
Oh, and that got him in jail?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, things were tougher back then.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anyone that didn't have a fake ID when they were underage.
I know, but he did something so silly. They picked up his friend, and they put him in the car, and I guess Terry'd been drinking quite a bit, so he kept going up to the car, and they told him, go away. So they just grabbed him and threw him in with him, and found out he had fake ID.
I think that has more to do with it than the fake ID. I haven't read the police report.
It didn't help, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was so crazy, though. He'd get into trouble by doing things that just didn't make sense, you know.
That's what drunk people do.
Now, how about anybody in a mental facility, Grandma? Have you ever known anyone like that?
Nope, never have.
Besides my Uncle Loopy, or my Aunt Loopy?
No, I don't know if anybody on our side of the family. We're all good people.
She's sure to clarify that's
very
not her relative.
Very smart.
It was, in fact, my father's side of the family, yes. Thank you, Granny. Oh, goodness.
I didn't say that.
Well, you did. You said not on our side of the family.
Oh, well, I didn't mean anything by that. I could have meant Vince's family.
That was the worst cover-up I've ever heard.
She tried. I got to give her credit.
She threw it out there.
Got to give her credit for that. Well, what do you got planned for this weekend, Granny? What are you doing, like, tomorrow afternoon and Saturday?
Okay, tomorrow night I'm going to the senior center for casino night.
Tomorrow night? Wow, what time is that?
It's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, wow.
Yeah.
All right, and what about Saturday?
Why?
I'm just wondering what you're doing for the weekend. We have no Dancing with the Stars to talk about.
Oh, okay.
And normally when I ask you, when I say let's do the Q&A, you're like, well, let me tell you what I'm doing this weekend. So
I have something more important to talk about.
This is a first.
Anyway, usually tomorrow night I'm going to the fundraiser at the senior
Not
center.
that important, apparently.
I get to play blackjack and poker.
Sure.
And but not for money. It's all the money goes.
Does Blackjack Mulligan ever show up?
Who?
Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess so. Well, my brother that went to Scotland.
The golfer?
Yeah. Anyway, a few people were interested, so I have a story to tell about his trip.
Is this the more important thing you had to discuss?
Yeah, I
Okay.
want to talk about it because it's very interesting.
Okay.
Okay. First when the airlines messed up and they missed their plane in Paris and had to spend the night in Paris.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop you right there.
What?
The airline screwed up and they missed their flight?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Anyway, they were in line and they kept going up and saying, you know, we're going to miss our plane. And they said, oh, don't worry, it'll wait for you. And when they got there, it was gone. But he said he really enjoyed the time that they spent in Paris. He said Paris is just a beautiful place.
I've heard that.
That's a rumor.
And then after 15 hours of flight, he got back to Atlanta to find out that they had lost his luggage and his golf clubs.
Oh, no.
And said that he didn't have any, they didn't have any record of his flight home from Atlanta, so he had to buy a ticket. And when he got to the airport and his wife picked him up, he looked and his Chrysler had a great big dent on the hood.
This sounds remarkably like what led to Brent being locked up in an institution, actually.
I was going to say...
and this it was at a parking lot, so it was a hit and run. So he either has to have his insured pay it or he pay it himself.
Oh, boy.
And then she said, and we're having plumbing problems, the toilet's backing up. So he got the plumber out there, and by the time they got through, it was in the thousands.
Oh, boy.
So the lesson here is there more?
Oh, well, just a little bit. And then he went out there today, and he said there was quite a bit of water in the backyard, and he's afraid that there's another broken pipe, and if there is, he'll have to take down his wood deck, and underneath the wood deck is a cement deck, and he'll have to crack that to get to the pipes.
Okay, well, that is a poor choice of construction locations.
Well, the house is pretty old, you know, and they still have a septic tank.
Yeah, but if you got a septic tank, why do you build a cement deck over it and then put a wood deck on top of it?
Well, see, because when they bought the house, the cement deck was there, so they just built they didn't like the cement deck, so they just built a wood deck.
It's like having a water heater and building a brick wall around it.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Go on, Vinny.
Well, I had two things to say. First of all, when I heard Brent's story, I will just say that I would like to hear the side of the story from the people who called the police in the mental hospital.
It was probably a little different.
I suspect we get a slightly different take on the tale. That being said, if an airline lost my luggage and my record of taking my connecting flight, I would be in such worse trouble than Brent is right now.
Well, yeah. Well, it took him 3 or 4 days to get everything squared away.
That's horrible.
You know,
did you just get it refunded?
You know, the thing with Brent though is when I listen to his story, I actually believe a lot of it. Because this thing has happened before. You know what I mean? This is not the first time. So when he says that they called my mom and she said, well, he's not going to go peacefully, and so they cuffed me, I believe 100% of that. I really do. So I would like to hear the other side of the story, but I do believe that Brent in some ways probably did. I would guess that his crime was more just being annoying, which really should not be a crime. So
I don't know. but he's certainly not the only one who's annoying.
Well, I think it was me. I probably would have made a scene.
Yeah, many of us would, but Brent unfortunately has not a record, but he has a record, if you know what I mean.
He has a history.
Well, he has a history of doing this.
He has been locked up before. My second point was going to be the lesson of this trip is never go to Scotland.
I was just saying never leave home.
Never leave home.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, it would have been okay, that part, if he hadn't come home to all the problems.
Maybe he should have stayed in Scotland.
Sure.
Run away from everything.
We haven't even had a chance to talk about how he did in golf.
How did he do in golf?
I would presume, based on this story, that he did really bad.
Well, he said one day he did pretty good. That's the only thing he said about it. But
so, in other words, he did horribly.
As far as the rest of the trip goes, when you asked about the golf game, I would have expected if we lost a man. There had to be more tragedy in this tale.
He did like Paris, though. He said that was really nice.
Well, something good came out of it then.
Okay, I have a question. This Dixie Carter that you guys talk about all the time.
No, it's not the designing woman lady.
Okay.
Pity.
It may very well be, actually, based on Impact that we watch every week, but no, it's not the same one.
And another thing, Bryan, I was looking through my closet the other day, and do you remember the book, The Seattle Review?
No.
When you were in junior high school, you wrote a poem in it.
I do remember that. It was about my fish, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, it was a different one.
No.
Was it about a rock?
No. I forgot what page it was on, or I would look at.
You don't remember the subject?
Wait, here it is. Yesterday I looked.
We don't need to read the whole thing, but what's it about?
I disagree.
Well, it says, looked in the mirror and saw our world green with...
Okay, all right. Don't make me turn you down, Granny. We don't need this right now. But I got published in the Seattle Review, you say?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
You just looking through the closet and finding various memorabilia from my life?
Yeah, I have quite a few things here.
I feel like I've died or something.
Remember the books you used to do where you write your own ending stories and you write your own ending?
Choose Your Own Adventures?
Yeah.
Oh, my
I have
God.
a lot of those.
I would guess those would be worth money nowadays. I remember those.
Oh, do you want me to try and see if I can make some money on them?
Yeah, eBay them and give me the money. Well,
No.
I'll give you 25%.
I'll keep it.
Well,
this negotiation is off to an awesome start.
Then, no. Let's do some Q&As, Granny.
I only have a few comments to make on this Dancing with the Stars. This is actually the worst season ever.
I thought we'd given up on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, I'm still watching it, but that Natalie, she got kicked off because she didn't want to dance raunchy.
So she was kicked off?
Yeah.
Do these dumbasses not know what they're getting into when they sign with Dancing with the Stars? Is this a mystery?
I don't know.
Did you see other people do the dance? Was it particularly raunchy?
Yes.
Oh.
The more raunchy they dance, the better, the more points they get.
Well, of course.
That's just, to me, that's not even dancing.
They ever have strippers on Dancing with the Stars?
Well, practically half of them don't have much on.
Oh, okay. Well, we've given up on Dancing with the Stars, Granny. We frankly don't care. Let's do the Q&A.
Okay. One guy was kind of upset last week because I missed his. He wanted to know.
Oh God!
I don't want to name his name.
Hey, don't even. Does his name start with a W?
I didn't even notice.
Good.
He's.
If it does, don't read it.
He wanted to know if I believe in ghosts, aliens, and the Bigfoot.
The Bigfoot.
Yeah, I really think that the aliens are possible, but I don't know about and Bigfoot too. But I don't know about ghosts.
Do you believe, as some
It's
people
funny
do...
you should mention that, because I would expect you to believe in ghosts, but not aliens or Bigfoot.
Well, I know. Well, I told you before. Yeah,
you actually told me ghost stories, and now you tell me that you don't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, but I didn't believe it, because the person that told it, I didn't believe it.
Oh, okay. All right.
And some of them have been asking me personal questions about your life, and I will not say anything about your private life.
Oh, come on.
That's right, Granny. Good woman.
I don't even know much myself.
Ridiculous.
Bryan Key plays everything close to the vest.
I do.
And by the way, folks, let me assure you, everything.
You know, people talk. You know, loose lips.
Oh yeah.
Pay tips.
Loose lips, say tips.
I can't remember the saying. I just remember
you
loose
heard that
lips.
from someone else.
Anyway, Sinbad wanted to know if I would kill anybody for $1 million.
They have asked this last week.
I don't love money that much, so I'm happy with what I have.
What if it was,
didn't have that last week.
What if it was Osama bin Laden? Would you kill him for $1 million?
I'd probably kill him, but I wouldn't want the money.
Oh, wow.
Noble.
You may get a call from the Secret Service here soon.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure the problem, Bryan, is that they've had him for years now, but they needed Granny to come in and finish him off.
Well, there's a $25 million bounty. Maybe they don't want to pay it, so they're dragging their feet.
Well, I really do believe that they could catch him if they wanted to.
I should add, next time Jim Cornette's on the show, I should ask him what he thinks of the $25 million bounty on the head of Osama bin Laden. Is that ridiculous, Jim? See what he has to say about that. He follows politics. All right, what's next, Granny?
Okay, and they want to know about the balloon thing.
The balloon boy?
I didn't watch too much of that. I just kind of, in the background and stuff, but...
background is just a boy floating away, supposedly in a balloon?
Yeah, I didn't...
Happens all the time.
Well, but, that guy should have known he was going to get caught.
He was an idiot.
He was just crazy.
Crazy and an idiot. Yeah.
Well, let's see, I have a couple more, and
You know when you're going to do something that's stupid? I don't know.
My only comment on that is...
This man should be billed.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that, but my only comment on that, besides that, is that I first heard about this when I went to CNN. I was doing work, and I took a break. I typed in CNN.com, and I saw breaking news in giant letters across the top of the page, and then a photo of what appeared to be a UFO in the sky.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my head and screamed, "Holy!" And then I won't repeat my next word. But then I saw it was allegedly about a child in a balloon floating away, and not actually UFOs on Earth.
I just was reading it, and this is very early in the story, and it's like, so let me get this straight. A dad built a balloon a helium balloon or whatever, and he put his child in it and his 5-year-old and set it free.
Well, he was supposed to have gotten in there accidentally.
Shoot the man.
So, allegedly, the child snuck in and released himself.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That was the story.
It's just stupid.
I did see on the news they are now selling the Balloon Boy Halloween costume, which is a cardboard box with a small helium balloon that floats over you.
I just love the idea. There was another, at the bottom of the article, or something like, so-and-so and his son had been working on the balloon together for some time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really, what was a 5-year-old contributing to this project? The air?
Well, and they didn't tell him to keep his mouth shut either.
No. Well, it turns out, this is shocking news, 5-year-olds are bad liars. Who knew?
This guy was just an idiot.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, they want to know who I think works harder, you or Dave.
Dave?
No, you both work hard.
Well, we both do, but he does work harder.
Well, he's been in it longer than you have, too.
Yeah, he's also a little behind the times technologically, which I think is actually the major problem.
But he is a little bit more famous than you, too.
Undoubtedly, yes.
Yeah. So he's met more people in the wrestling than you have.
Sure, but I've wrestled more. How about that?
Yeah.
What's next?
Let me see.
A couple more here.
Well, these are kind of silly, but...
How can that be?
Oh, years ago, Andy Williams' ex-wife, Claudine Delaunay, she killed somebody, and they wanted to know if I think she got away with it. I can't remember too much about it, but at the time I thought she was guilty.
I have no idea who these people are.
Wow.
You know who Andy Williams is, the singer?
Andy Williams, a singer?
Andy Williams, a singer, you say?
Wasn't he one of the Naturals?
I was just one of the Bee Gees.
Let's do the next question, Granny. That's too obscure for us.
Too obscure and kind of morbid.
We need something closer to Balloon Boy.
Well, the next one, I only have one more. They wanted to know if I liked the Fugitive show. You remember anything about that?
The Fugitive.
Dr. Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
The guy who invented the mandible claw.
Yeah, I watched that all the time.
What'd you think of it?
It was a good show.
I'm presuming you obviously liked it if you watched it all the time. What about shows like Three's Company, Granny? Did you ever like that show?
Well, I wasn't really too fond of that one.
Yeah.
Happy Days.
It was kind of... Happy Days, I liked that.
There you go.
The other one was kind of silly.
The Honeymooners? Mom loved that one.
Oh, yeah, I liked that.
What about Andy Griffith?
Terry's mom, she watched those until just recently. She used to watch every episode forever.
Terry's mom? That's
Harry.
You. Oh, Harry.
Bryan's.
Brian.
Sorry, I get the two mixed up.
Yes, you do.
I do.
All right, Granny. Well, listen, we're going to let it go.
All the time. I call people by their different names, you know.
By their different names, yes.
That's my age.
My different name is Terry. Now, Granny, we're going to wrap it up today. And, of course, if you have questions for Granny, you go to the radio show section of the board and do the Granny Q&A. And no personal questions about myself. Those are off limits. Granny is too fine a woman to ever broach those subjects. And I guess next week, Granny, will follow up.
Well, I want you to tell R.D. tomorrow to tell him hi for me.
Will do.
And I just got email from Rodney tonight.
Really?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, Granny, one more thing before we let you go. What possessed you to call into Wrestling Observer Live last week?
I always felt so bad about doing that. But, you know, I just came in from playing Pinochle, and I sat down here, and here was the phone number, and I thought, well, he's on right now, you know. I've never done this before. I wonder what it's like, you know. So I just got on there, and they put me on hold for a while, and, you know, and then I realized later that this was a national, more than your shows, you know.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Depends on how you look at it, but yes, it's available in more places, but I think this one is actually more listened to.
Yeah, later I kind of felt bad about doing it.
Well, you did it one time, Granny.
Well, at least I got it out of my system.
Yeah. All right, Granny, we're going to let you go here, and we'll plan on talking to you next week, and be ready for November 7th in Tulalip.
I sure will. We're looking forward to it.
And I'm looking forward to you being there, believe me.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you after a while.
Okay.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was Granny, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to read, when I do Wrestling Observer Live, since we have such a ghetto setup, the producer emails me the information because obviously I'm at home on the telephone doing this Sirius satellite radio, XM radio, national program here on the phone. Anyway, he sends me a list of calls, for example, and I'm just going to read this call list that was sent on October 18th at 4:30 p.m., half hour left in the show. Show info for 10/18/09 from producer Matt. It says, calls. Ebenezer from Pittsburgh about Chono? With a question mark.
This is already awesome.
Ed in San Antonio about Captain Lou. Hannibal in North Carolina about tonight's pay-per-view. Granny wants to say hi to everyone. That's what this says.
Did you accept the call?
I read that and I thought, huh? I wish I had it here. I wish I had it queued up here, but I basically said, Granny, are you there? And there was a long period of silence. And in a nervous manner, I said, is someone who is going by the handle Granny on the line? And she goes, hello? And I said, Granny, what's going on? And she says, I just wanted to call and say hi. And I said, well, hello, blah, blah, blah. Do you have a question? Nope, just wanted to say hi. And that was the end of the call. So that was Granny's one and only appearance on Wrestling Observer Live. She just wanted to see what it was like, apparently. Granny. Granny.
I'm here.
There we go. Everything's going wrong with me today, Granny.
What?
I had to watch a bad wrestling show. It made me mad.
Uh-oh.
So, Granny, it's your job here to cheer us up.
Uh-oh, I don't know if I can do that. I've got the flu.
You've got the flu?
Well, everybody at Nikki's house had it, and so I got it. But
why did you go there, then?
Well, they came over here yesterday because I had a bunch of relatives over for lunch.
Do you have the swine flu?
No.
Bird flu?
It's just regular flu.
How do you know you don't have the swine flu? Because you're not dead? Is that what you're saying?
No, because they say it starts out first you cough, and then you get sick, and I haven't been coughing, so I figure it's not that. I don't feel that bad. I've been drinking 7-Up, and every time I get sick and I drink 7-Up, I feel much better. Anyway, I had a chocolate cake for you. In fact, I got a whole bunch of it left.
A big flu-ridden chocolate cake.
I won't be eating that, Granny.
You won't be?
I don't want to get the flu.
Oh, okay.
You realize the logic in that statement.
Yes.
I'm sure you blew out candles on it as well, just spreading germs everywhere.
Now I was thinking of taking it over to the senior center for...
Good idea. Yeah, let's get all those old elderly people with poor immune systems as it is, sick with the flu.
I better not take it then. I thought I would take the cake over there and let them enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah, wipe that place out like an African village, Granny.
Well, I guess I'll just eat it myself and keep getting the flu every time I eat some of it.
Well, you're building an immunity to this flu, so you may as well eat the whole cake.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm afraid of.
God knows when you're sick, that's the best thing for immune system is large quantities of sugar.
Oh, really? Well, right now I'm hungry, but I don't feel like eating anything, so anyway.
You're hungry, but you don't feel like eating. Explain that concept to me.
I just don't feel like having anything to eat.
You sure aren't that hungry, then, I presume.
Well...
There's never been a day where Vinny's not been hungry.
There have been days where I have been hungry and nothing has sounded good.
That's right. That's the way I feel, too.
I can understand being really hungry and not being able to decide what to eat, but I've never been hungry and nothing tasted good. You may as well kill yourself when that happens, Vince. Well, nothing?
If I had not killed myself yet, why start now?
A burger didn't sound good, or chips, or...
There's just some days, Brian. And you're a creature of routine. So your eating is decided on, I'm going to eat, it's 3:15, therefore I'm going to eat this as I have planned for several days in advance.
That's right.
That's great, by the way. I'm not knocking you for that. But some days when you don't have a plan, and you're trying to decide what sounds good, and just nothing sounds good at that moment.
Well, explain to me what follows then. You're really hungry, but nothing sounds good, so you just keep getting hungrier and hungrier?
You eventually settle on usually what is cheapest and or most convenient.
Or I go to bed hungry sometimes.
Well, Granny, you
It's been a while since I've done that, I gotta admit.
Granny, you know today is the anniversary of the Great Depression?
It is?
October 29, 1929.
Oh, how How about that?
I guess technically it's October 30th in 2 minutes, but today was the anniversary of the Great Depression.
Boy, I was close, wasn't I, with being born?
You were very close, Granny. You were born mere days after the Great Depression.
Wow.
Yeah. And now you're very old in the midst of another one.
I guess not as bad, though, I don't think.
You need to live long enough, Granny, for the good times to roll again.
Well, I'm not doing too bad myself, so.
No, other than the flu. What do we have to talk about this week, Granny?
Oh, let's see. I got a bunch of stuff written down here, but I watched that Marysville Wrestling a while ago with you on there.
That Marysville Wrestling? You mean Tulalip?
Yeah, when you were talking on there about what wrestling on this next weekend or something.
November 7th, yes, I'm coming out of my latest retirement.
Well, and I understand that everybody was supposed to come to my house on the 7th, and I'm trying to understand what's going on, because how are we going to, you won't be able to come, will you?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out there, Granny. I need to be in Tulalip. I need to be there for the big match. You need to be there for the big match. In fact, everyone going to the party should be there for the big match, so I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, it's going to cut it really close if, and since I don't have anything to do with it, I have to go along with everybody else, I guess.
You have nothing to do with your own party that you're aware of?
In fact, I didn't find out till today when it was going to be and where it was going to be. It was going to be at my house.
Oh, wow. So everybody invited you over to your house on a day that you didn't want to do it, and you have no control over this for your birthday.
That's right.
Wow. Well, happy birthday, Granny.
Well, on my birthday, I'm going to Sylvia and Cheryl's house for a birthday dinner.
Well, how about that, Granny? Are you going to have a cake with a stripper coming out of it?
Oh, that would be fun.
Sure.
Wow.
All right.
She took that right in stride.
Hey, Vince, you want to volunteer?
No, thank you.
That is a horrible idea, Granny. Why don't you get the chef while you're at it? The cook.
Oh, are you kidding?
Granny, do you know that was his job on the side?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Are those guys still going over in Bremerton or wherever?
Not in Bremerton, but Tim Flowers came out of retirement, and him and the cook are doing shows here and there, yes.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Don't let me know where. I don't want to see him.
Okay. All right, let's do the Q&A, Granny.
Okay. Well, this one is this guy said he's getting married in 2 weeks, and he wants to know what advice I give. And my advice, if you're going with somebody and they have kind of like a trait or a bad habit, don't think that it's going to change after you get married, because it's not.
It's only going to get worse.
Well, I mean, it's not going to improve. A lot of people get married and think, oh, I'll change the person after we're married, but that does not work.
Very good advice, Granny. Very good advice.
You have to have a respect for each other.
Indeed.
And be each other's best friend.
Good.
I don't know why I'm saying this, because I never had that.
You know what you didn't have, Granny.
And another thing, keep God in your life. That's what I suggest.
Very good. Nice little threesome there.
Okay. And Adam Firestone wants to know if I will be his grandmother. I thought I was everybody's granny.
You are, Granny. You are, in fact. Adam Firestorm is a longtime friend of mine. He's also a wrestler, Granny.
He is?
Yeah, but he was before your time.
Oh, you mean, how old is he?
Well, I mean, in the sense that he was wrestling before you started going to them.
Oh.
What the heck you meant?
He is not, in fact, older than you.
Adam Firestorm's 134 years old.
Yes.
Well, let's see. Another one
He caused the Great Depression.
Yes.
Another one wanted to know if I know what Bryan's biggest mistake when wrestling. I know what you think it is, but I didn't think of any of them that I knew where you made it.
I thought of at least a half dozen.
Whatever they were, it was your problem, not mine.
That is, in fact, true, Granny. These were my problems, not yours, especially the hair match.
There's the hair match. That was the first one that came to mind, and I also immediately thought of the time you separated your shoulder doing a basement dropkick.
That's what I was thinking about, that you probably knew which one it was, so we talked about that before. But
yeah.
And somebody asked me, if you killed somebody, would I turn you in? Of course not.
What?
Of course not, everybody. What a stupid question.
Yeah, and they wanted to know if I...
Does that include Vince?
Huh?
Does that include Vince?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You know, I'm not making this up. I was once explicitly told by my father that if I did kill someone, he would turn me in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I pretend I didn't know.
Oh, that's good to know.
Okay, and they wanted to know if I knew who Art Bell is. I know, Bryan, I remember you listening to him all the time.
Still do to this day.
Yeah, and
he's the best.
I think when Terry and I used to come back from Vegas, we used to have the radio on. We used to listen to him on the way home.
Yeah? The best there ever was, Granny.
Some of the stuff was so weird.
Way better than that Rush Limbaugh.
Well, I never listened to him.
All right.
Okay, they wanted to know if who the better actor was, Humphrey Bogart or James Cagney. And
James
I like
Gardner? He was better at jiu-jitsu.
Humphrey Bogart and James Cagney.
Okay.
There was an actor named James Garner, too, but anyway.
I like Humphrey
Gardner?
Humphrey Bogart was my favorite.
Humphrey was good. Yeah. Not enough guys nowadays named Humphrey.
I can't think of one.
Oh, that's true.
If I have a child, Granny, what do you think of that name, Humphrey?
Well, I didn't like the name Clifford either, but that's the way it goes.
That is, in fact, the way it goes, Granny. You know, it's funny, they asked me, little Carlos is having his Halloween party at school tomorrow, and they said that his favorite uncle, who of course is myself, was invited to attend the festivities, and I thought it would be so cute to see Carlos and all these little buggers in their outfits that I was making plans to actually change my entire schedule around to go. And now that I've heard about the swine flu infestation, I will not be going.
Uh-oh. Well, he stayed home from school today. And
exactly.
Did you know Clifford wants to, I forget what he wants to be, but he's going to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants.
Huh. Does he know it's Halloween, or that is his idea?
That's Halloween. It's some character that I don't know for sure what the deal is, but it's some character that they have in their whatever games or something.
Games.
Yeah, in their games that they're on the computer or something.
Pimpinella Escarlata?
Huh?
What's the next question?
Okay. It said, could you beat Bryan in grappling battle?
Grappling?
Could you beat me in a grappling battle, Granny?
Yeah, I could beat you in arm wrestling. I used to.
You used to is the operative term, Granny. How about a Gatlin battle?
A Gatlin?
Like a Gatlin gun.
Oh gosh. Okay, let's see. Another one.
Time, apparently.
Who was the better shoot wrestler, Billy Robinson or Lou somebody or other? I don't know anything
Lou
about
Thez.
I don't know anything about the wrestling.
Lou Rawls.
And I'm kind of skipping around here, so if I'm going to have to watch it. I might come back next week with the same thing.
Well, I hope you ask that. I hope you ask the grappling question again, because we might get a different answer.
They wanted to know which I like better, Quiznos or Subway. I like Quiznos because I went to a friend's house for lunch not too long ago, and those sandwiches were so good.
Oh, yes. Quiznos makes the better sub sandwiches, definitely.
Yeah. I don't care much for Subway.
No.
Oh, let me see. What else was there? Oh, here's one. They wanted to know what I thought of Tony when I first met him.
That's actually a great question.
I think we've answered this, but answer it again. It gets better every time.
Well, my answer is I really don't know Tony any better now than I did when I first met him.
Perfect.
Because he is such a private person that we just never have very much of a conversation.
Do you remember the first time you laid eyes on Tony?
I can't remember the exact day, but I just know.
Do you remember what he looked like, though?
Yeah, I remember what he looked like. Oh, yeah.
And it was?
He had the long hair. And
let me tell you a story about Tony. First off, could you beat Tony in a grappling battle?
I don't even know what a grappling battle is.
All right. Well, look it up on the internet, and we'll answer it next week.
Okay.
All right. Now, when I first met Tony, I walked into the YMCA. I walked into the weight room. I was probably 17, maybe 18. Walked into the Gold's Gym weight room, and there's a guy standing there, and he's got long black hair. He's about 6'2" and about 130 pounds. He's got facial hair, clearly a smoker, wearing blue jeans, black boots, and a flannel, in the weight room, mind you, and he's just standing there in the doorway. And I said, "Hey, you're Tony. Aren't you dating my sister?" And he went, And then I went and worked out, and that was the last that I saw of him for a while.
We've been friends ever since.
We've been friends ever since. That was my first meeting with him.
Well, he's a pretty private person.
He sure is, Granny. Let's
keep it low profile.
He's a good daddy, though. So
he is a good father. Let's do one more question.
Okay, they wanted to know what my favorite New Year's Eve was. I guess it must have been when I was in the singles. We used to go to parties all the time. New Year's Eve parties.
You gonna do that this year, Granny?
No, I sit at home and watch fireworks on the on the TV.
You and Sylvia aren't gonna go out for a little shindig?
I doubt it. Well, you know, and we might have another person. Cheryl wants to come to the wrestling, but your mom said she might not have room in the car for her because she's pretty heavy.
Well, I hope Cheryl is not listening.
Well, I'm pretty sure we could find room for her, but I told her she did. Definitely not getting in free.
Do we just... Granny lays down the law here.
Well, I just said if we bring any more, then you'll letting us in. Why would we bring somebody else?
Granny, I get one comp. So you and Sylvia or my mom or somebody, they're going to have to try to figure something out to get Sylvia in this time. I paid for her to get in last time, but I may go broke doing this on a regular basis.
Oh, I see. So you're only allowed one then, right?
Yes.
Oops, we're in trouble.
We'll see what happens. I'll see if I can get two since I'm actually wrestling on this show.
Well, I might have to pay her way because she says she's always so broken. She wants to go so bad.
All right, we'll take care of her, Granny. Jesus. All right, so that's November 7th, Granny, so I expect you to be there with the whole crew.
I will.
And make sure you spread the word. And anybody listening right now that wants to hang out with us on November 7th, and Granny, and I'm sure Vinny will be there, and Craig, and Dan.
Oh, really? Craig's coming this time?
I'll make him, yeah.
Don't make a promise you can't keep, dude.
But, by the way, what's Brent doing?
He's fine.
He's in a home, Granny.
He's still there?
Yes.
Oh. And did you have Buddy on one of your shows?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, because I thought I missed it.
Well, I talked about Buddy, but I didn't have him on the show.
But I thought you said he was going to be on.
He's going to be on, but he was not on yet.
Is he at least taking calls?
We got to tease it.
I see.
So he's doing fine, though, huh?
He's doing much better. He's doing remarkably well, all things considered.
That's good.
So, yeah. All right, Granny, we're going to wrap this up today because I got a lot of yawn I got to do here, and I want to get it over with.
Gosh, I don't know why you don't get tired. You're on there constantly. I can spend the whole evening just to listen to all your shows.
Don't remind me.
Do that?
Don't remind me.
I do. I turn it on, and then I put a background and listen to it and play my computer games. Nothing on TV.
And I am far more entertaining than anything on TV.
Just hearing your voices is what it keeps me going.
There's your
That's
tagline, right?
Hearing my voice keeps things going.
Figure 4 weekly, there's nothing on TV.
Hearing my voice keeps things going. I like that one, Granny.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you in a little while. We'll talk to you, I'm sure, before next week.
Okay.
Actually, wait a second. Let me look at the calendar here very quickly. Next Thursday is it's the day after your birthday, Granny. We may have to call you on your birthday.
Uh-oh.
No, just plan on the day after.
Well, Wednesday is my birthday.
Yeah, so we'll call you the day after your birthday.
And I expect a whole bunch of happy birthdays.
I will spread the word.
Okay.
All right, Granny.
All righty.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, Granny. Her sense of entitlement is something else.